We're going live. Hello there, and welcome to Campfires on Dagobah. Now we finally popped up. Hello there, welcome to Campfires on Dagobah.
Hello there.
As you can see, we have a new background, which is exciting, all thanks to Andy over there. What's up, dude? How are you?
Hey, doing pretty good.
Also, to my right, we have Carter. What's up, Carter?
What's up, guys?
And welcoming to the panel today, a new guest, which I'm excited, is Erik. What's going on, man?
What's up, guys?
Tell
Good
us-
to be here.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh man, well, I'm actually a professor at University of Mary Hardin Baylor.
Okay.
Down in Belton, but I was in the Army for like 20 years. Diehard Star Wars fan. Tattoos, the works. So, but came to Waco. Worked at a hospital for a little while, and now I'm teaching students my craft.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
Lightsaber building mostly.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. But maybe that'll be part of.
Lightsaber
The
building.
funny thing is, I taught a class yesterday, and I had a Ben Solo. You know the Ben Solo challenge? Have you seen any of these things?
Oh, is that when he's like
Yeah.
pull it from the back?
So I was trying to teach them, different motions of the human body, and one of the motions I was teaching was in that moment, during when he gets the lightsaber and he kind of goes and is like, this like,
Yeah.
and this is like abduction. The
Sure.
movement. And I was trying to teach students abduction. I asked her, I was like, anybody Star Wars fan out here? And nobody really cared. It was really sad.
I would have been,
yeah.
I would have been the first person to raise my hand.
There was a couple of them, but
Yeah.
I mean, my students might be watching right now, and I'm disappointed.
Also, for those of you out there watching, I'd like to apologize if we all look washed out. We have a whole lot of black and not a whole lot of reflectors. So it happens and something just fell. But let's get into it. Topic number one today. So does anybody, I know you and I follow the box office. Do you follow the box office at all?
Oh, yeah, I'm always interested.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker surrenders the weekend to 1917 as it approaches the $1 billion mark. As expected, the Sam Mendes Golden Globe winning World War I drama managed to knock J.J. Abrams' Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker off the top of its U.S. box office perch with a projected $37 million weekend. 1917 has finally taken the number one spot for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker as the U.S. box office. As expected, Sam Mendes' acclaimed World War I drama got a significant boost from its Golden Globes Best Picture win and took in $14 million on Friday with a projected $37 million opening weekend with very little in the way of competition. What are your thoughts on this, Sandy? Does this make you sad that Star Wars fell from being number one down to
a
number
little,
two?
a little. I went and saw 1917, and it's not better than the Joker in my opinion.
Okay.
But I'm not really that sad because Skywalker was bound to fall to somebody. And don't get me wrong, 1917 is a good movie. I don't necessarily think it's the best war movie.
Sure.
But and the gimmick is cool. The gimmick is very cool.
First person shot, right?
Continuous. It looks like one long continuous shot.
Right.
Yeah. And my advice to y'all out there is don't go looking for the cuts.
Okay.
I started to when I first watched at the very beginning of the movie, and it took me out of the movie
Really?
because I'm looking, I'm like studying. I'm like, okay, where's the cut? There's a total, like when they go back behind somebody real close. I'm sorry I touched you.
That's okay.
And so it goes black, and you're like, there's a cut there. And so I wasn't really paying attention to the story. And so then I just let that go and then let the story take a hold of me. And but yeah, I'm
You're the first person I've ever heard that looks for the cuts in movies. Let's talk about that. Like, there's a cut right there. That's where they went and cut.
well.
That is
the
true.
gimmick of the 1917 is it's shot and edited to look like one long continuous.
So like
there's
Birdman
no
is.
like
Birdman.
I haven't seen Birdman.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
interesting.
I didn't realize that.
it's really cool. It puts you in a different mood. I read on my Facebook group, my Facebook movie group, some people were like it gave them a headache, it gave them motion sickness.
I can say
And-
that.
Yeah, and I was just like, I made a stupid comment. I was like, well, it's pretty sad that a movie shot to how we experience everyday life makes people motion sick and gives them a headache.
Well, I can understand that because I've been playing video games for a long time. And I started playing first-person shooters on my big TV. I'll get motion sickness after.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah.
I would too.
After like 30 minutes or so, I'm like, I gotta cut this off.
Did you guys watch that movie Hardcore Henry?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
That one I watched for about 20 minutes and walked out of the theater. I couldn't
Really?
take it. It was so. I mean, I was like so motion sick.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was so excited about the movie, and I wanted to watch it, but I couldn't take it. I had to walk
Wow.
out. My wife
Wow.
too, and
Wow.
she has no motion sickness, problems.
I've
Crazy.
on on my Facebook group again. There's some people that can't watch 3D for that reason. Like it gives them a headache or it makes them motion sick or whatever.
Yeah.
Robert Hawkins. Hey, how are you? Thanks for tuning in. Sorry, continuing. I didn't. Real quick before we continue, I just became an uncle again.
All right, congratulations.
So my sister just had a baby a couple days ago. She normally tunes in and watches. So Jess, if you're watching, I will be home soon at some point within the year or so, and to come see the baby. So I'm excited to have another niece. This is my third niece that I have.
All right.
So
Yeah.
fourth. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot one.
Uh-oh.
All right, sorry. Continue. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I think that's pretty much it. Just to throw in the whole motion sickness thing. Has anybody been to the OmniMax in Fort Worth?
Yes, at that museum.
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
Okay, that was my first quote unquote IMAX deal, and the thing is, it's the dome.
It's a dome screen. Yeah.
And when you sit down, the way it's stadium seating, but it's more like at a 45-degree angle, so that when you lean back in the seat, you don't see anybody, and your entire peripheral vision is filled by the screen.
Yeah.
Now, that movie, I had a headache when I came out of it.
Yeah, and they had that little intro of Fort Worth through the helicopter.
Oh yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that? So
The one I had, the previews were better than the movie because this one preview is there was a helicopter, but I don't know if it was Fort Worth, and it's like going through a canyon or something, and then all of a sudden the camera just tilts. Instead of looking forward, you're looking straight down, and it's like you're just flying through the canyon, looking straight down. And I was just like, whoa. But yeah, that's the only movie that really gave me a headache or motion sickness or anything.
Interesting. See, I never really get motion sickness that much.
Did anybody? I know we're straying way off of Star Wars here, but the other movie that comes to mind as far as motion sickness was the original Blair Witch Project.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I watched
was a
it.
little
I think it affected me a little bit,
Yeah.
but I didn't get it as much as other people. Other people had to leave because
Just
of the shaky
jerkiness.
cam. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Believe it or not, my niece Hope, she got motion sickness from the beginning of Episode 3 in Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah,
All
with
the ships
with the
flying
ships
around?
flying and they're turning, and
Yeah.
she said she had to walk away because it was bothering her.
Wow.
So, but I mean, that's well shot. It's beautifully shot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love that opening. It's just like, man.
Yeah. So we're gonna kind of skip one topic and we'll come back to it
Okay.
because I feel like we can really get deep into that topic. So we're gonna jump ahead to Marvel's Darth Vader #1. So StarWars.com, they had an exclusive look at Marvel's Darth Vader, or Star Wars' Darth Vader, issue #1. And it's set after the events of Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. The Fallen Jedi revisits Lars' homestead on Tatooine, hunting for information on Luke Skywalker and seeking revenge on all those who hid his son from him. Tragedies and images from Vader's past come back to haunt him. What do you think, Erik? How do you think this story is going to play out?
Okay, so the cool thing about this is that it gives you a lot of options on Tatooine to revisit. So, I mean, there's potential to see, like they could bring in his old cut clip girlfriend. What's her face? What's her name? Not Jamie or Jimmy or you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
There's a clip, like when he's talking about like I was gonna go, to Tashi Station,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right, but there's a girl
okay.
there that
The
was
brunette.
his like love interest on the planet. And so, I mean, you know, they would have known about Jawas, of course, and you know, we all love seeing Jawas. You know, it'd be interesting to see if they brought Watto into the mix somehow.
Ooh,
Because
that would have been awesome.
you know, I mean, because he's kind of still around, you know.
I bet we do see him.
You know, but even some of the people from the cantina, I mean, you could see a lot of those people. I mean, you could have, you know, I'm drawing a blank on some of the droids' names and stuff. Anyway, all that to say, you could have a lot of that come into the mix in this thing, and you know, he could just mow down some dudes. I mean, at this point, you don't see
Maybe they can
Tatooine anymore.
maybe
Yeah.
they could tie it into the Mandalorian because you know how deserted
Easily,
things were.
yeah. And they could also take it off planet. I mean, we know that when Padme had her the babies, they were on Polis Massa, which had their own little creatures over there, and they had like a midwife droid. But there's a lot of aliens there, so I mean, he could visit that planet and destroy some people. You know,
That'd be pretty cool to see.
But like, you know, they have there was a handful of people on the Tantive when you know they were talking about their plan. So. You know, it could be like he, you know, goes to look. I mean, there has to be something deeper to just mowing down some like random, you know, shout outs in the Star Wars universe. So hopefully there's something deeper to it.
Do you think he'll like go to old Ben's habitat?
Got to.
Yeah.
You know,
would be incredible
you know,
to
there's
see.
a good chance that he goes to Dagobah. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you find something that, you know, Obi-Wan was talking to Yoda or knew that there was a plan, I mean, they could even bring back Qui-Gon in there somehow.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, Qui-Gon was communicating, and, you know, maybe they end up going back to Dagobah and he seeks out some of that stuff. You know, that would be kind of cool.
So I have a question for you, but I'm going to save it for our one topic because you just brought up some interesting things that I would really like to touch upon. Andy, for somebody that doesn't really read comics anymore, but did in the past. Now, with this information of this story, is this something that would want to get you back involved in reading in comics, or at least a Star Wars comic?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of want to because I want to read the Kylo Ren stuff.
Yeah,
and
should do that.
So good so far. So good.
And,
It's really good.
okay, as a young comic book reader, I never got into the I guess you call it the expanded universe, the comic books or the books or anything.
Right.
I didn't get into the books until, I don't know, 2000-ish, maybe?
Okay.
No, between mid-90s and 2000. A friend of mine gave me a Star Wars book. It was somewhere around the New Jedi Order book
Okay.
books. And
Like right in the middle, probably, right?
yeah, I can't remember which one it was, but I was off from work. Like that whole Christmas, New Year's thing. We got a big vacation. I read the book like that, and I was like, oh my God, that's a really good book. And that's really when I got into the expanded universe. I never got any of the old Marvel Star Wars comics or any stuff like that. But yeah, I'm kind of interested to go back and check it out.
I will say, like, there's I've read all the Star Wars comics, and I there's some that are, you know, like whatever, but they've done Darth Vader very well. They've done, I mean, when they've done this series of his stuff, it's been good. It's been good meat. It's been, it shows a lot of like thinking, you know, from him. And so reintroducing another Darth Vader one is really interesting because it gives a lot of depth to that character.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other ones that they've done real well. The Star Wars comics in general have been pretty decent. The actual Star Wars line.
Sure.
Dr. Aphra is a great comic, but it's recently gotten not as well. We've talked about this,
right.
But coming right out of the gate, she was introduced in Darth Vader, and then had her spinoff, which was great, and then it wasn't.
Right.
But so there's some interesting ones to check out.
So I've been loving the Star Wars comics, especially the Kylo one. I'm very interested in reading the Darth Vader, this issue. Now, with the Darth Vader comics, I'm very far behind.
Yeah.
I read the first 9, I think it was. And then it ties in with Star
It
Wars.
would be Star Wars.
Yeah, it has the Vader
crossover.
Right.
Vader down.
Vader down, yeah. That's where I'm at, and then I have an issue after that. I mean, I haven't picked up another issue since, but that's I'm running out. I have a shelf with comics on it, and I'm running out of space, so I need to get another shelf.
The interesting thing about the Darth Vader stuff is that if there's fans looking for more depth to the story on Vader, I mean, they explore how he builds his castle.
Yeah.
They explore a lot of meat of, what happens with him and how he becomes who he is and why he decides to go the direction he goes. And so if you're looking for Force stuff and you're looking for, meat Vader stuff, I mean, it's a great series, to pick up. If that's the only thing you're going to read in Star Wars, it's not a terrible thing to read.
So I really wish this book was still canon. Have any of you guys read Secrets of the Jedi?
I don't think I have.
Remind me what it was.
Okay,
about.
so I'll show you what the cover looks like. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, interesting. I don't think I've ever read
So Qui-Gon has a wife.
that. Yes.
Obi-Wan Kenobi has a girlfriend. Yoda, it said that Yoda had a relationship with somebody, and it kind of goes into that a love affair story that everybody, Jedis weren't allowed to love, but behind closed doors, everybody had a significant other.
Really? I didn't know that was a book.
Yeah.
That's really
It gets pretty deep sometimes with love affairs and like Obi-Wan walking in on Qui-Gon being not intimate but getting close to becoming intimate, and then Qui-Gon has to not reprimand but explain to Obi-Wan that this is not the Jedi way and I'm committing a crime essentially, but it's pretty deep. I have the book, and it's rare because it goes from chapter 1 to 12, and then it jumps to 21, 22, 23.
It's like choose your own adventure.
Right. And then, and then it jumps back to chapter 13 and goes and picks
That's
up.
really interesting.
So it's a mess up of the book.
Speaking of those relationships, what do you think about them possibly exploring a love interest for Luke Skywalker, like Mara Jade? Everybody wants Mara Jade, but at this point, is it too far
Not
gone?
everybody.
No, I don't think it's too far gone. I think
Not everybody.
I know some people don't like Marjade at all.
I feel like we're gonna see that character at some point or another.
Some variation of it.
Yeah, or what's his name? Sebastian Stan.
Mm-hmm.
I can see him coming back as Luke Skywalker.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I mean,
Bucky.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, especially on The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Even if it's a little cameo, because
Yeah.
well, we really can't get Mark Hamill to do it because
We can de-age him.
I will tell you that CGI on Rise of Skywalker for Mark Hamill was pretty on point.
oh yeah,
The Carrie Fisher one, not so much.
you know that was
Billy Lord, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But it still did not look quite right
really.
to me.
Come
Anyway,
on.
You wanna come talk?
I feel like I think they had a what's her name?
well, hold on a second. Wait till you come up here and then talk.
We have somebody joining the panel.
This is James, my oldest son. He's a pretty sound Star Wars aficionado.
Let's see if you can scooch in. I think we're all gonna have to. There you go. What's
You're
up,
coming
dude?
in. You'll
Yeah.
be coming in a second.
All right. So what were you saying?
I was saying the CGI on Leia's daughter, or on Leia when she was younger, was I think it was Carrie Fisher's daughter.
Billy Lord, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But it was
But it was
a
still.
lot of makeup that they did.
But I mean, did they still do CG? Did they?
I think they
do
CGI'd her face.
Still
Yeah.
CGI, but they used Billy Lord as the stand-in, but maybe just like did the dots like Maz Kanata with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I also
interesting.
think it was in the position that they had her in, or the way the camera was shot, that really made her look off.
Yeah.
Then from
That was the one thing my wife had a problem with in the entire movie. And when I watched it again, I very specifically looked at that face for the split second it was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, I didn't love it.
really,
You know, I mean, like when they did Carrie Fisher in Rogue One, I was actually totally fine with it.
oh yeah,
I
that.
thought actually, I mean,
So, not to cut you off, Going back and watching Rogue One now and seeing like Tarkin and Carrie Fisher,
Yeah.
the
Leia.
CGI it looks
Princess Leia is her
Princess
name.
Leia. Sorry,
Princess Leia.
yes, Princess Leia. How could I forget my first love? The CGI looks a lot better now that it's aged a little bit. And,
Sure.
I mean, especially if you watch it on TV, I think it looks perfectly fine. But it's never really taken me out of the movie.
I've never had a problem with it because I know they've had to work with it. I would have been fine with they CGI'd her multiple times in it if JJ wanted to go that direction. I kind of wish they did.
So do I. I mean, at some points you can tell that she was speaking old dialogue, and it really wasn't,
Yeah.
like what was it? Ray said something like, "If you don't want me to go, I won't, but I will," or something like that.
Yeah.
And Carrie Fisher says something that's like, "Wait, what?" It's a little,
Yeah, like they planted that for the reaction.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
interesting. You had to do with what you had to work with what you had. But going back to Leia, we all desired her to wield a lightsaber. I think everybody wanted
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And again, I think this is a place where Disney missed a opportunity to have the strongest, most powerful woman in the galaxy. And not that being a political general isn't great, but we wanted her to be an awesome heroine and mow down people and wield a lightsaber and beat the Sith with different things,
Mhm.
And matter of fact, actually, I had a buddy who met Carrie Fisher probably a year before she died. Actually, it was right before Force Awakens, and he asked her specifically, "Are you going to have a lightsaber in this movie?" And she told him no, which was interesting because I'm surprised that she would be allowed to say that.
Really?
Yeah. And she said no. But
I don't know.
anyway,
I thought that might give something away.
sure. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, but
surprised
how-
that she was just allowed to say it. Like, I could see if she said, "Oh, I can't really talk about it." But she straight up was like, "No, can't, kind of laughed about it. Like, no, that's not who I am or whatever."
Yeah.
But they want to empower these great, strong women. And I thought, like, man, what a better woman to empower than Princess Leia, who's awesome.
I think the ending of The Last Jedi would have been incredible, seeing Luke and Leia kind of side by side with a lightsaber going after. Now, Leia would never go after her own son, but I mean, if she was there on the battlefield trying to convince him to stop, I think that would have been interesting.
How cool would it have been Leia that went out there and just mowed down the First Order just because she was so awesome? Like, nobody expected it, but just
Wow.
came out and everybody shot. And what if she just held up, and just blocked every bullet, I mean, and then she just,
Instead of having the Mary Poppins,
No.
thing.
yeah.
Not too late. So also we're going to be bringing another gentleman on the panel. It seems like everybody's wanting to show up now because of the background we got behind us.
Oh, yeah.
So, but we'll definitely make room for when that person gets here.
I
And
told you we should have set up the tables different. No, I'm just kidding.
no, that's okay. So we off camera we talked a little bit about The Last Jedi. How does everybody feel? I got your opinion of it. How about you, man? How do you feel about The Last Jedi?
Well,
Coming from how old are you, if you don't mind me
I'm
asking?
18.
Okay, so you didn't grow up with the prequels, but you were able to go back and watch them.
Yeah.
Or what trilogy? Let me ask you this:
I
what
did grow
trilogy?
up with them, but I didn't watch them in the theater.
Okay, so
Like-
you're more of
They're
the
like the first few movies I even remember watching. Like,
I force fed them Star Wars from birth. They probably
Oh,
don't
that's
even
perfect.
remember
that's
when
perfect.
it started.
Did you start them out on original trilogy or sequel trilogy?
I don't
Oh,
even
prequel.
remember. I just had watched them so many times it didn't even matter.
Really?
It's like Dad's playing that Star Wars movie again.
But yeah, the first time I watched The Last Jedi, I thought it was amazing. But going into the theater, about 5 minutes before the movie started, my phone buzzed and I checked my phone. It was my friend who thought it would be funny to text me that like Luke dies in that movie. And I was like,
Oh,
dude, don't do that.
And I told him, don't look at your phone.
Yeah.
Don't listen to anybody. And I mean,
Don't go on social
that's a
media.
legit story.
But
He got
other-
spoiled
yeah.
right before.
But other than
we
that, I thought the movie was really cool, and but I really wish they had given Poe like that death he deserved at the end.
Poe?
I mean, I think they're setting up a cool
Finn.
heroic death. Yeah, I always mix those two up all the time.
I feel like. Sorry.
Well, because in Force Awakens, they gave him such a cool character arc, and then just didn't really do anything else with him. Like,
I agree.
He was just kind of screaming Rey for the rest of the movies.
My buddy Jason, he sent in saying Last Jedi was decent as a setup movie, but not a great standalone movie. How do you guys feel? Do you think it stands alone pretty well, or do you think going from Force Awakens to Rise of Skywalker, there's
after Rise of Skywalker, it almost feels like it's just another Star Wars story. Like it could have just been like
That's a good
movie
point.
that gives you kind of filler that was just another battle after Rise of Skywalker, of course. And,
Sure.
You know what's interesting is I was telling Carter after Last Jedi that I could like this movie better depending on what happens in Rise of Skywalker. So
Really?
yeah, and actually I do. I think I do like. I think I told Carter from day one. I thought Rey was a Palpatine. I thought she was a clone of Palpatine. I thought from the fighting style. First thing I saw it.
Well,
the jab. I thought
in the novelization too.
Yeah, the novelization of Last Jedi, Palpatine talks to her. I mean, he says to kill him. I don't know if you guys know that. There's a line. I'll read it to you. I'll find it while we're talking. But there's a line at the very end where she's fighting Kylo Ren, and he goes down, and it says she hears a voice saying, "Kill him." Or finish him, or something like that.
Really?
Huh.
And nobody talks about this, but I've said from day one that's Palpatine talking to her.
Wait, in which movie?
Force Awakens. It doesn't.
Really?
You don't. It's in the novelization.
Okay.
Which I love the novelizations because they give you so much more depth. But I'm gonna find it and I'll read it.
So yeah, definitely do that. So okay, one of the biggest complaints out there about the new trilogy is everybody saying that Disney did not have a cohesive story. They knew how to set it up, but they didn't know how they were going to finish. Do you really think that this Palpatine was planned from the beginning, or do you think it was just kind of, well, we screwed ourselves over with The Last Jedi.
Mhm.
How do we get everybody back? And what is a character that we can bring back to the table that gets
I don't
everybody?
know. I think they were struggling to create these new characters and have, them be, likable and, remember, be legends of some sort. And then they have the legacy characters like Leia, Han, Chewie, Luke, and all them. They're trying to find a balance, and it seems like they had a hard time finding a balance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I definitely see where you're going. Would you guys be okay with Disney Plus now out there, and we have The Mandalorian, which that's our next topic, and we'll get into that. So we'll kind of
Before we jump, I just wanted to say, okay, this is going to be a little bit of JJ bashing.
oh no.
I don't know.
I think you'll agree with me. JJ kind of plays it safe with the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
They're very much callbacks.
Fan service things.
Yeah. And in that instance, The Last Jedi it stands out because Rian Johnson took chances with it. It's like, I'm not going to play it safe.
Yeah.
Luke's going to toss his lightsaber. He's going to be old and crotchety, which I love because it's kind of a throwback to Yoda on Dagobah. But
No, mine. I love that.
yeah, and what you said before about that, The Last Jedi might be a better movie when I see Rise of Skywalker to see if they fix things or answer things or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with, and it happened because when I watched Last Jedi again, it was a whole new movie to me, and I appreciated it a lot more. I didn't dislike it. you know. But yeah, I forgot what I was saying.
That's okay. When The Force Awakens came out, how many times have you seen it in a movie theater?
We saw it like 5 times within a 3-month span.
Yeah, we
Really?
saw it a lot.
Like maybe even
Maybe
more.
more than that.
We bought it.
We saw it
Yeah.
at least 3 times within the first week or two. I mean, we needed so much meat. We wanted to
tell
pick
me
apart so much.
Time I saw it the first time.
You want to hear a cool story about that
Yeah,
movie?
shoot it.
All right, so I'll do Reader's Digest version, but we actually won Alamo Draft House tattoo contest,
Really?
where my wife and I have matching Boba Fett tattoos,
That's
and they
amazing.
basically went out to the whole U.S. like, hey, send us your tattoos. If you win, we'll put you up in a really cool place in Austin. And of course, there's Alamos around the country, not
Right.
like AMC, but
Yeah.
they're all over. And so we were the regional winners for Texas. And so we didn't fly to Austin, but we went down to Austin. They put us in like a Airbnb, and they decked it out with all this Star Wars stuff. I mean, like they
That's
decorated the
incredible.
whole thing. I mean, they spent a ton of money, food, decorations, and then we got to keep them all that stuff.
cool.
And then of course we got shuffled in at 04 in the morning and watched all the movies, and in the best seats in the house, and that's how we watched Force Awakens. So it was a pretty dope, day
That's
for
awesome.
sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Force Awakens. Yeah, we went a bunch of times. What about you?
So if my buddy Jason is still watching, and he can vouch for me, I've seen The Force Awakens 18 times in a movie theater.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
18
Wow.
That's
times.
insane.
Yeah,
I think I saw it 3 times, maybe.
really.
Yeah.
And here's the little story. So while Rogue One was in the theater, I believe The Last Jedi just finished wrapping, if my timeline is correct. I don't know, Andy, if you want to check me on that. But I remember walking out of, and this is going to get sad, but walking out of the theater with my nephew,
Uh-huh.
seeing Leia up on the screen was amazing, but turning the phone back on and reading that Carrie Fisher has passed away, that was hard. That was hard. But I don't know. I was just bringing up a story. But yeah. All right. So let's go on to our next topic, and it's not really a big topic, but it's something I want to talk about. Any of you guys collect Blu-rays? I'm a massive Blu-ray collector.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
love the Blu-rays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen what the new Best Buy's version of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker Steelbook looks like for the 4K?
Oh, no.
Already?
Yeah, they already released it, and it's beautiful. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you guys, and we can
They
kind
released
of.
a picture.
They released a picture. Best Buy Rise of Skywalker, and we can kind of talk about it. And
Oh, that's cool.
now I own a couple steelbooks, but I don't own Star Wars on steelbooks, and now I kind of need to do that. So I think in the group chat, if we go ahead and open that up, I think I sent it, and I said I think I need to get this. This is what it looks like. That right there.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's cool.
I need to get that. I need to pre-order it, and I need to get it.
Okay, so you know how on those pictures, every movie has its iconic picture.
Yeah.
I always thought Revenge of the Sith was dumb. With like Obi-Wan kind of like, and Anakin kind of like, I just thought
yeah.
it didn't come in well.
Yep.
Do we have a picture? Oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Right behind
I
us.
just thought it was not the greatest.
Right.
You have a great one with
Carter's covering.
you got a great one with like
There we go.
Luke and Vader, like this super iconic,
Oh, yeah.
leg spread and awesome. And I just always thought that picture was never very great,
I
of
agree.
Revenge of the Sith. All the other, like this one's super cool. How they did Rey and Kylo Ren that's a sweet one for sure.
As Star Wars fans and as movie fans, anytime they release a new Star Wars movie or collection set, do you run out to buy it, or is it just I own the copy, so I'm not going to bother going out and buying it?
It's changing, isn't it? Culture's changing with
Yeah.
that, isn't it?
Yeah.
When
I
they
only
come
buy
out with
the-
the new version.
I buy
is that what you said?
Do you go out and buy the new versions, even though you have copies?
I used
Several
to.
copies.
I used to before my collection got overcrowded, and I have to be choosy.
Okay,
So I'm only buying, what I think I'm going to keep.
interesting.
I've had a harder time. I have a 3D TV, so I try to buy the 3D version now, if it's available.
Sure.
Because they're coming less and less available.
It seems like the
Especially in the
3D
US.
is
Because I actually had to find the Rogue One 3D version
really.
on eBay, I think, and it was. It said it was like the Italian version or something, but everything was pretty much in English. So.
Really?
Um,
Was there some Italian in it? No.
There's some writing, some of the booklets and stuff had a little Italian in it, but that's it.
Yeah.
are you a Disney Movie Club member?
Well, he's got Disney Plus.
What do you mean Disney movie?
It's kind of like this is a throwback. You Zoomers aren't going to know what this is.
Zoomers.
Like Columbia House, being.
Oh no, I wasn't like that.
Oh, you should try it out, dude. They have the 3D versions on there. I think. I know they have some of them. I'm not sure if they have all of them, but if you're looking for the 3D versions,
Yeah.
they have those.
Well, I got The Force Awakens and Rogue One in 3D.
Yeah. I know they have. I know I've seen The Force Awakens, but I'm not into the 3D Blu-ray or whatever. But I know that they have those versions on there.
Yeah.
And never mind.
Well, like I at one point in time, like I was seeking every different type I could. The Laserdisc versions.
Sure.
Yeah.
I would steal the digital version from the internet. I actually in New York City when Revenge of the Sith came out, I was in New York City and I got a bootleg copy of Revenge of the Sith, and I thought it was so awesome that
Really?
I have like a pirated version of episode 3. But I've also since purchased 17 of those. So like I knew that it was like I've given Disney plenty of money for this movie.
Oh,
so
Yeah.
I didn't feel bad about it. But I have purchased probably up until the Blu-ray, the first Blu-ray version of it all came out. I purchased them, but now I don't repurchase. I would say the digital version on iTunes when that came out, that was the last full set of movies I purchased
Okay.
of Star Wars.
Because they didn't originally come out on digital.
No,
Yeah.
they didn't.
Yeah.
It was a long time before they released them
Yeah.
digitally.
I mean, it took forever for it to come out on DVD. I mean, I think
yeah.
Episode 1 was the first Star Wars DVD that came out. Then they came out the original trilogy after that.
Yeah.
I still have the VHS set that has the widescreen, the letterbox edition that has a slipcase
With the original version on it.
with the original version, not the special edition, the original.
I gave those away because I had the original VHS,
Uh-huh.
and then they came out with the special edition, and not realizing that the special edition was that special.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not much of a collector as far as media goes. So it's like, okay, I've got this on VHS, I've got this on DVD. I'm just going to give my VHS away.
Yeah.
And so I gave my original Star Wars VHSs to my friend because he had just gotten into his apartment and he didn't have cable or anything. And I was like, here, bro,
Yeah.
Star Wars it up. And that's the same thing. Like if I get Blu-ray version, I'd take the DVD and I'll throw it somewhere because I'm just like, oh, what do I need the DVD version for? And I get tired of, like, I don't know how many times I've bought Star Wars alone. And there's always like the 10th anniversary, the 15th anniversary.
Right.
This is the anniversary.
This will be like the 50th.
Yeah. It's like, how many times do I have to buy this? I think there should be like a trade-in. It's like, okay, if you have the original, you can trade it in. You get like $10 off the new one or something.
That's funny.
But what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, what I've been doing recently, because we could probably all say we've watched Star Wars a bazillion times.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever watched them with the director's commentary on them?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's actually really interesting to see why they went different directions with stuff, and especially like Episode 4. to hear like George Lucas talk about like, I had this idea of this and the original thinking behind it.
Yeah.
And then of course I've listened to all of them with the director's commentary, super interesting. Hey, just real quick, I wanted to circle back on that quote.
Yeah.
So I can't find the exact quote, but people have talked about a passage from the Force Awakens canon novel describes the moment when Rey strikes down Kylo Ren and how a voice speaks to her, telling her to kill him.
Really?
Yeah. But conveniently not in the movie, and nobody ever talks about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, from day one, I talked about that. I was like,
see, I've always said from the day we've seen Snoke, I've always said Snoke was at least a form of Palpatine in some way.
Something. Yeah. Which kind of makes sense. But that Kylo Ren comic.
Yeah.
Have you read that?
I have it at home. I started it.
The first one?
Yeah.
So the very first thing in that comic, am I allowed to say these things on this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He says, what did Master Skywalker do to you? Or what did Luke do to you? Does it say what he did to him in the second comic? Because he's in this like floral kind of gown and all this foliage, area.
Yeah, that's kind of an odd choice.
Yeah, it was weird.
What did he do? Maybe
it
it's with
doesn't
the
say
whole
it.
thing like
Doesn't say it. And also, did you notice that you anticipate like in that comic, it also showed that Kylo Ren didn't take down everything and set it all aflame. Like somebody else did that, and he ran up to it.
Yeah.
And so it must have been just Luke like tearing down the place and saying, "I'm out of here."
Well,
I can see that.
The second issue deals with more of like a younger Kylo Ren and Luke, and it deals with them on a mission. That's all. I'm not going to give it.
Yeah, don't spoil this for me.
They
I tried to get into the comic book shop today, but I didn't get there by 6, so I couldn't get my second. I thought it came out tomorrow.
No.
What's it? Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Yeah.
What were we going to say?
Oh, I was going to say, circle back to Rey and the thrusting. I just wanted to say,
Okay.
with the lightsaber,
Which one?
which I noticed that, whichever one that she did it with, there's a lot of stabbing. There's a lot of stabbing in the sequel trilogy.
Tell me another person that does stabbing.
Okay.
There's only one other person.
Kylo Ren. In The Last Jedi, they stab a lot of people.
But not.
And it's either
you're talking about
turning on-
stabbing.
Yeah.
I was
yeah,
talking
not
about the
slashing, but
thrust.
stabbing.
The
Yeah.
thrust that she does
Yeah,
is very Palpatine.
Doesn't
in the
Finn
fight,
does it too, doesn't he?
I
He
don't
did it in
think
the Force
so.
Awakens.
Yeah.
In
I
When
think
he's
he
fighting
did.
the stormtrooper.
in
goes
Battlefront
this?
2, one of Rey's abilities is literally
Oh yeah,
she
running
runs
and-
up with the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
Oh, but there's a lot of-
disparaging, but I'm just saying there's
interesting.
a lot of lightsaber stabbing, whereas normally it was
Slashing.
hack and slash.
Huh.
But yeah, it's like especially in the fight in the throne room during Last Jedi, there's a lot of there's that one where he turns it on and stabs a dude through the eye, and then there's a lot of this coming through the back, and of course when Han dies in Force Awakens, he just turns it on and
Right.
it stabs through him. But I just want just to point that out. There's a lot more stabbing in the sequel trilogy.
How much money do you think they paid Harrison Ford to come back for the cameo in
Oh man.
the last? Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
He got $35 million
For the cameo?
for the
Wow.
Force Awakens. $35 million just to come back as Han Solo.
Oh my gosh.
That's
It was
insane.
worth it, dude. I cried like a baby. As soon as I heard his voice,
Yeah.
we saw it this second time together, and I was like, as soon as I heard his voice, I was like,
You're
and
talking
then
about
by the
Rise of Skywalker, right?
yeah,
Right, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because after Force Awakens, he's like, "Yeah, I'm done."
Yeah.
You
Harrison
guys don't-
Ford.
And nobody
Very
asked him too, which is funny. Hey, are you going to be in the next Star Wars? Hey, once he made it clear that he's done, it seems like nobody. See, I thought it sounded more like what's his name, Mark Hamill saying, "Hey, kid, you know how he impersonates
Hey, kid.
Han?"
yeah. I immediately I knew it was Han. And I was just
I'm
like,
gonna get.
started bawling.
I'm probably gonna get thrown. People are gonna hate me for this. That was probably one of my least favorite scenes in the entire movie.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, I get it.
Sure.
I get it.
Right.
He's not a force ghost.
But it's something
His
that
memory.
just came out of nowhere, almost like, let's figure out a way to get Han Solo back. Like, part of me tries to say Leia projected to him.
Okay.
Like, I want to think that something else gave him this kind of vision, if you will.
Oh, okay.
You know, and I know he's like, he says it, you're not here. And he goes, no, I'm not.
Or he says,
What if?
you're just a memory, and he goes, yeah, I'm your memory, or something like that.
Yeah, whatever. I forget.
So
what he says.
what if that scene almost did almost a like a rotation, right? Anytime the camera was looking, it kind of rotated to where when we were looking at Kylo,
Mhm.
he's on whatever he is where the water's at, and then if it rotated the Han, it's back in the Star Killer where Kylo kills Han.
I would be okay with that.
You would, so it kind of shows like
it
it's
shows
him.
that he now is going to make the different decision.
Right.
Like he's replaying the decision in his mind.
Yep.
I think I would have been. I actually think that would have been a really cool cinematography moment to show like
It's-
that.
Yeah, it's kind of like somehow, what's the word? Blending together or cutting together almost.
Marrying together.
Yeah. Russell says, you guys know Billy Lord played Leia in those scenes
Yeah,
before. Yeah, we covered that.
that.
So coming to the panel, Reagan just showed up. So we're going to get him in here somewhere. So I don't know how we're going to get him
We'll
in
get
here.
James. James can pop out. And
He's going to pop out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll sit down with my Andy. I'll squeeze in.
Man, there's not a lot of squeezing.
Yeah,
not
there
much
won't be enough
squeezing.
room. We got you over here, a spot over here.
Wait.
Sorry, we got a whole lot of shuffling
Money?
around.
Shuffling here.
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you trying to say I'm fat?
Oh, God. I know there's a whole lot of bouncing around today, guys, but it's
Oh yeah, they got computers. Well, if you
It
sit
is
down,
what
the
it is.
your computer will be straight.
I
He wants to be over here.
stand next to Yoda.
It's like weird. Like,
Yoda's.
okay. So going into our next topic, and Reagan, it's
Oh,
awesome
sorry.
that you showed up because I'm sure you have a lot to say about this next topic.
Oh, wait a minute. What were we
Not
talking
me.
about?
We're just talking about
I wanted to ask you a question. Eric.
Yeah,
Okay, so you got no feels off of the Han Solo scene.
it's not that I didn't get feels. It was exciting to see him.
Yeah,
I just
we can scooch because Reagan's like half on, half
I
off.
do kind of like the idea to have played back in Star Killer Base, you know, like circle that around, like, you know, if it just kept going like almost like round in circles, and it was
Yeah.
like Star Killer, and then on the Death Star and
Oh,
Star
okay,
Killer, like
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of showing he's playing
Yeah.
this in his mind over and saying this time I'm going to make the better decision.
right.
I think I would have been better with that, but it almost felt just like a forced Han Solo projection that everybody knows Star Wars has never done something like that before.
Yeah,
They just brought back. I mean, and I'm not saying they did it for fan service so we could get the feels. I love seeing Han Solo. He's like absolutely one of my favorite characters, obviously.
Sure.
But it just felt a little forced to me.
yeah.
Okay. Reagan, you and I saw the movie together.
Yeah.
We cried.
I cried.
We
I
laughed.
cried. I've seen it 5 times now.
Okay.
Four actually.
4 times.
Yeah.
I like it.
Wow.
When
And every time Han shows up, I cry.
really?
Yeah, especially the part when Kylo says "Dad"
Oh,
and he
okay.
says, "I know."
I got super
Oh,
emotional
yeah.
with that moment. And it's a shout out to I Love You, I Know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
That's awesome. What a brilliant write. That was
Yeah.
awesome. That was a great.
I love
that was
how
great.
it's not too much on the nose by saying "I love you, I know,"
Yeah.
but it is a nice
Yeah.
gesture in how they did it. Like you
But also,
said,
that's
a
the
nice
first
subtle.
time Ben ever calls him Dad.
Yeah,
Like, on
we
screen.
hear.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that is
And
true.
so it's like, wow,
Yeah.
that's deep.
I
I had something else to say.
Sure.
I think there's actually like a bit of evidence to suggest that Leia was the one projecting him because she doesn't actually disappear until the end.
Did you hear me say that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I was listening.
That's
on-
what. Well,
on-
that's
in
what
the
I
car.
kind of thought.
And so she doesn't disappear until the end. So I think she was the one, like, kind of.
Maybe that was the like how Luke projected himself. Maybe she's like, I'm going to give you your father, and that's what's going to need to happen.
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because I like that theory better.
Mhm.
Like I'm going to show them to you,
Yeah.
and you're going to make them all see. Like I'm a I'm almost emotional about that because that's a better death for Leia than saying like Ben and he gets distracted and he gets killed. Is that how she goes out?
Yeah, no, I don't
Because that's
think
what it
so.
feels like almost, you know.
I'm sorry.
Have I already spoken about that moment, or when Rey stabs Kylo and then heals him, and the duality with the Force Awakens? I know I've spoken to some of y'all about it. I don't know if I've done it on the show or not.
What's that?
What I got when Leia says Ben distracts Kylo and Rey stabs him, and then she's like, and then she feels Leia die, and then she's like, oh, and then she heals Kylo or Ben at that point. The first thing that popped into my head was that thing that Rose says to Finn when she keeps him from doing the suicide run, which is, we don't win by destroying what we hate. We win by saving what we love. And I got that. I got that. I don't know if anybody else got that, but that's what I thought about when I saw that, because, you know, she turns around and she heals him and saves him instead of trying to kill him. And I know I've said that to some other people, but I don't know if I've said it on the show or not. So,
But I would have been so okay with a Finn sacrifice right there. That would
Yeah.
have been a
oh
cool.
yeah.
I was okay. I was emotional about it, and then Rose ruined it for me. But
But-
hey, what
That's
do you
the one time I've like actually rooted for a character to die.
Yeah.
I was like, he's gonna. Oh my god, that's
gonna
awesome.
do it.
And then,
And then she
I was like,
like-
oh.
And then the weird kiss that came out of nowhere.
I love how JJ was just like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
we're not gonna have them. But I mean, he does acknowledge Rose, and he does acknowledge her to come on for the ride, and she's like, no, I'm more. What's she say? I'm more needed here, or something like
She
that.
has to search the Star Destroyers for a weakness or something like
Yeah,
that. Is what she says.
Yeah, it's
Well,
really
and,
weird.
and you know, there's been a lot of fan backlash because she didn't get more time, and you know, I think that I cheered for her more with that minute and a half than I did the entire Last Jedi,
Really,
because I think that she was playing. I mean, she was playing a role that was getting into being kind of more of a Leia type situation. You
Yeah.
know? Not a Force user, but could be a powerful politician. You know, and you know, came from really nothing, lost her family,
sure.
and I kind of liked how they played her into this, saying you're still fearless, but you know your priorities, and you're going to stick with Leia. And actually, if you saw, there's a lot more cut scenes that she spent more time with Leia. JJ said that it just CGI wise didn't kind of translate very well. But I think there's a lot more to say about that, and they'll probably flesh some of that out in the book.
I saw a
Okay.
headline earlier that said that the original script leaked online. I haven't actually checked it out, but I saw
yeah, I didn't.
a headline
That-
For
happened.
Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
It's not the one that John Boyega lost, was it? Or
No,
Oh.
like the first draft of the script with like all the scenes.
oh,
before
the
they,
first draft.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
That would've been-
That's
I'd like
what I
to see
assumed
that.
just from the
Yeah.
headline that said that the original script leaked. So
Just a quick shout out to George Christopher. What's up? He came in and said he still has his original VHS set.
no way.
Yeah,
Nice.
my homeboy Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, and Russell. No, I'm not. I'm big boned.
Gotcha. So I mean, I probably should say this off camera, but nobody's watching legally. What I want to do is I want to see this trilogy from Kylo's point of view.
Do you remember me telling you about how they should make a trilogy 4, 5, and 6 that is just Darth Vader and Palpatine?
So
Yes.
Like, what's going on?
what
What's
I
happening here?
what I
Yeah.
think I'm going to do is I'm going to build a Star Wars movie.
Oh,
And
man.
this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to write a crawl, and I mean, I have the technology to do it with Premiere Pro and After Effects.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to
He
have a
has the
crawl,
technology.
and then I'm going to insert the scene with Luke and Leia fighting, and then it's going to go into like some time's going to pass, and it's going to show Kylo, you know, coming from the ship, meeting Poe, and everything's going to be from Kylo's point of view, and
That would be so
take
interesting.
everything with Kylo through all 3 movies and build it into maybe a 1 movie or 2 movie, because there's enough footage to do it, but
Mhm.
just construct it in,
Mm.
you know, the First Order's point of view or Kylo's point of view.
Yeah,
Because-
I always thought that would be such an interesting story. Like, I think we're all intrigued by the dark side and their manipulation of the Force and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, when
Yeah.
they went down in what's the planet name?
Exegol.
Exegol. When they went down and you saw those big statues of Sith lords,
Yeah.
were you not just like, is that Exar Kun?
Yep.
Is that
Yep.
Darth Bane? Who are these people? You're wanting to know who these old Sith relics are.
I want to know who was in the crowd. Was that all Palpatines in the crowd?
So those were Sith worshippers or Sith loyalists.
Okay.
And it does explain that actually in the visual dictionary.
Okay.
If you guys have read that, it talks about these loyalists who have kind of chummed the waters for the Sith
Sure.
Okay.
Interesting.
To be better. or
Was
something like
anybody
that.
else not wanting clones? Because I'm totally against clones of like popular characters, even though I know Django, stormtroopers, blah 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 blah. But like all of the fan theories, like Rey is a clone of Palpatine.
Yeah.
Everything that was floating around there, and I was like, oh, just please don't give me any clones.
I think it's dangerous territory.
Yeah,
It's like time travel, which they introduced, of course, in canon.
Yeah.
In
they
the
did-
Star
they
Wars
did that in
Rebels.
Resistance?
Rebels, yeah.
Oh,
Rebels.
Yeah.
Essentially,
They
they
Yeah.
introduced time travel, and of
That's
course
when
they've
it's
already
like all white
introduced
and weird, right?
Yeah, that big black
Yeah.
metal space.
I haven't finished Rebels yet.
Fantastic.
started it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I won't say. No, it didn't really spoil
No.
anything, but
I
you'll
knew that was
appreciate.
anything,
There's some
but-
incredible things in that show.
Yeah.
I wasn't disappointed that Snoke was a clone or whatever, or he was made.
Yeah, we don't really know that
Yeah.
either, do we?
Well, I mean, there's a vat of Snokes in
Snokes.
there, and he says, I made Snoke, but we don't know that he's a clone or who he might be a clone of. He just says that he made him. But I was just totally against clones.
So I wasn't clear. Was Palpatine in the Rise of Skywalker? Was that a clone body he was inhabiting, or was his original body from?
I saw an interesting theory that what if that's the only Palpatine that has ever existed, and the ones we've seen are clones.
Ooh.
So Palpatine has always been on Exegol, and the Emperor was a clone, and Chancellor Palpatine was a clone, but Palpatine has always been.
That is
Like,
pretty
messed
interesting.
up.
Yeah.
I
think
with the chicken fingers.
Chancellor Palpatine would have been his true form, but
Yeah,
he's just so old now from living on that planet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
and you've also, you've heard the theory that Snoke was basically kind of, Darth Plagueis.
Yeah.
Kind of reincarnated, or of kind of a clone of him. But what do you think about the child, aka Baby Yoda, being a clone?
That's been one of the theories I've thought about.
Ooh,
think about this.
That actually gets into one of my next
Good
topics.
segue, huh?
Yeah.
Well, think about this. Like, what happens if, Yoda gets beat, Palpatine beats him in Revenge of the Sith. He loses his lightsaber and his cloak. So he's got Yoda DNA, and he's got a cloning facility that has accelerated aging, which could, paint the picture of why he's 50 and not a little bit older than that. Because at the time, if he's 50 years old, Anakin at that point, was he a teenager or 20 or something like that? So Yoda and Anakin, Baby Yoda and Anakin are the same age essentially. When Baby Yoda, they would have made at the same time.
Interesting.
So what if Palpatine said, "Oh, well, I'm just going to make myself an apprentice,"
Right.
and it was Baby Yoda?
That's dangerous to think
And that's
of.
another
Yeah.
thing that
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
It was my that was my own theory.
That's a
So
good
for the
theory.
record, it
I've
could
heard
be.
a theory that it might be Yaddle.
But how could it be Yaddle?
Because she's in Phantom Menace when they do the clone room scene or the council
Yeah.
scene, and then she's never seen again. She's not in Attack of the Clones. So where did
But
she
this
go?
takes place
Right,
30
right.
years after that.
Right, but
maybe
she just kind of disappears. And
Okay, well, let's talk about Yoda real quick. So, or the child.
So
Are they going? Do you think they will reveal his the species in the Mandalorian?
I think so.
Finally, after 42 years,
I
they're
think they will.
going to reveal.
do you know? Yes, I definitely think we're going to learn what Yoda is. What if? Do you think it'll be a cop out if they say, "Oh, well, that's what the name of the species is Yoda"?
I think
No
that
way
would
they
be
do
cop
that.
out, yeah.
No way they
no.
do that. No way they do that.
No, you don't think so?
No
Or
way
do you
they
think
that.
Disney has a room filled with interns going, figure out what Yoda is, and everybody's like writing down ideas on a board and bouncing things back and forth? And
Meanwhile, Daddy's sitting in his deal going, I got it right here.
Well, they had George Lucas in to talk about the origin of this species and stuff like that. Like,
but even George Lucas doesn't know what he is.
Yeah.
He
Or he
just
never
never
revealed it
revealed
anyway.
yeah, I'm sure just
Interesting.
I think he said at one point, he is like, yeah, I haven't figured that out yet, or whatever. But I
What if
do
it was
like,
like-
I do like your idea of cloning, making an apprentice, because the Sith are all about longevity and staying and not dying.
Right.
And if you're able to create an apprentice or whatever that's going to live for 900 years, then how much longer can you extend that process through
Interesting.
dark Sith technology or whatever
Mhm.
they like to call it in that one part that I didn't like in the movie.
That is interesting.
Well, what were you going to add?
So, okay, going into The Mandalorian and the season finale and everything like that, I'm not caught up on The Mandalorian, but I love spoilers. For whatever reason, it just gets me wanting to watch.
That guy with the
that guy with the thing. Yeah.
What?
We were at Papa Rolo's.
Oh, okay.
And
had this
we had
okay.
this was right after the chapter 8, the last episode, and me and Reagan are talking about it, and I was like, "Well, he hasn't seen it," so we're making up things about. So what about that guy with the thing? And we're like, "I know, Ryan, but how did the guy with the thing get it from the other guy with the thing?" And we were just going on this whole conversation, and Dom was doing something on the computer. He's like, "What? What are you talking about?"
So
the guy with the
Adam Pally, he was one of the stormtroopers responsible for caring for Baby Yoda in the season final on The Mandalorian, and ended up getting his finger bitten for his troubles. After revealing that it was Jon Favreau who offered him a cameo, the actor told Entertainment Weekly just how much the puppet costs. Have you guys, without looking at this, how much do you think Yoda costs?
I did hear, so I won't
I
answer.
already saw it.
You already
Yeah,
Is it exorbitant?
it's a
Yeah,
lot.
it's a
Just
lot.
guess. Give
guess
it a
how much
while.
Yoda costs? The puppet.
Did you hear, James?
Over or under $1 million?
Over.
James, what do you think?
Dude, really? Oh
Mhm.
my
I want to
gosh.
say like 4 million.
4 million?
It's probably more than that though.
I have no idea.
Okay, you're not off. It costs $5 million, and he's reported saying, "I remember the first take that I did when I punched him." He said, "They called cut, and John, who was watching on a monitor in his office, he came down from the office and said, 'I just want to let you know that this little hero Yoda, the main prop used for close-ups, and it costs like $5 million. So while I want you to hit it, I just want you to know that." Because I think I took a big swing at it, and the next 3 takes I missed because I was so nervous. I would be nervous. I would be nervous
Right.
too after hearing that. I want you to hit it, but just know that it costs $5
$5
million.
million if you break it.
Jesus.
And is there only one?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's fully articulate. So like that's probably why.
I
it's
mean,
$5 million.
I'm guessing there's some scenes when they use CGI
Yeah.
for Yoda.
Did you watch episode 1 before getting spoiled?
Yes. Yeah.
So
I
you
watched
got
that.
to
Yeah, I
you
watched
got
that
to
Carter's
see
house.
that
The big
moment.
reveal. Yep.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's like watching Darth Maul show up
Yep.
Yeah.
out of nowhere.
Uh-huh.
Which you didn't like Solo, right?
like
Oh,
it.
you did? Okay.
Yeah.
I have a friend that didn't like Solo. I thought it was great. Besides, Harrison Ford. What do you do?
So, not to cut you off real quick, Russell just said, commenting on the interns looking for Yoda. He said Disney has a room full of clones.
I hated Solo.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Well, to him his own.
yeah.
Right.
I want a baby Yoda. See, this is my favorite Yoda right here. Do you know what Yoda this is?
That is episode 1.
Yeah.
Yep. That's episode 1, and then they, for whatever reason, CGI'd him, which I hate that because Yoda works better as a puppet, to me at least.
That first puppet was ugly, dude.
Yeah.
It didn't. I mean, it wasn't.
You mean
dated.
episode 1 puppet
Yeah,
or
yeah,
episode
yeah,
5?
yeah.
Puppet?
They made him look younger, and they made him look more of a Mr. Miyagi type of look. If you look at him, he looks more like Mr. Miyagi, at least to me. But I would love to own a puppet of Yoda. I really would.
I guarantee this Christmas it's going to be insanity.
But no, I'm not talking like a little plush doll.
But I mean like having a legit full size the child.
You think so?
Why wouldn't they? Like a Black Series full size. I mean, you couldn't do that with Kylo Ren, but you could do that with a baby.
Yeah.
And comes with his floating pod.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's. I mean, I wouldn't be. I mean, they have full size BB-8s or pretty big BB-8s.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, don't they
That
have
work?
that at Galaxy's Edge? The BB's-8s.
BB's-8.
BB's.
Yeah, you can build your own.
BB-8. And now I know they have C-3POs, little C-3POs that you can.
Little.
What?
Did they have any?
They have R2D2s. You can build a R2D2 or a BB-8.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they have any of the? Why do I always?
And then there's one that's like life size, and it's $25,000.
Don't tell me that. Really?
Yeah.
Of what? R2?
Okay, so all of the parts that they have, like on the conveyor belt thing for when you build your droid, you can get it and like put it on a life size one and have it for $25,000, and it takes like 9 weeks to make.
No way.
Yeah.
Carter, do you want to spot me? 25 grand?
Yeah, right.
It like moves around and it makes noise and like it's so cool. The lady was like, "Yeah, you can have one." I was like,
Build a bear will be
"Thanks."
selling it.
What was Salacious Crumb? He's a something lizard.
Kowakian monkey
Monkey
lizard.
Okay.
Well, actually, I was
Did
going to
they
say
have-
something about Yoda being like a something form of that, like a mutated Kowakian monkey lizard, or maybe on the same planet.
Did
Which
they,
That would be interesting.
did they have any of those at Galaxy's Edge when you went?
Yeah, you can get them and they like sit on your shoulder.
Yeah.
And they
Really?
talk,
Yeah.
right? They can move, right?
Yeah, well, there's
Yeah.
a little like
That's
magnet thing that like you run through your sleeve or whatever, and then it has like a little control
Yeah, it's
panel,
got a
and you
control.
can like
His
move its
head
head back
moves
and
and he
forth,
says
and he
stuff.
laughs at you.
That'd be awesome.
And it's a magnet.
I would
There's like a
love
shoulder
having
piece
one.
Yeah.
like
that you
that.
put under your shirt that's got a
Yeah,
magnet.
Galaxy's Edge.
And then you go.
We're going in June.
June.
That's so dope.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts overall? Also, too, I was reading an article. I don't know how true this is, but
Go ahead.
Disney will not be releasing The Mandalorian on Blu-ray.
Really?
Yep.
So you got to keep giving them their money.
They want you to
Hmm.
go to that streaming service. You want to watch The Mandalorian? You have to buy Disney Plus. They won't be putting it like how they did with the Clone Wars or anything like that.
And you can probably buy it on YouTube not YouTube.
Pirate Bay, you can get it
iTunes.
off Pirate Bay.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Neither do I. But
Pirate who?
yeah, what? Bro, Russell. Oh no, he said boo. I thought he said bro.
He said Russell says Build-A-Bear will be selling them something. I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the season is now complete. From watching from start to finish, overall feelings, and where do you think we're going to go from here with The Mandalorian, but also with Star Wars shows in general? And this will lead us into our not the last topic, but the main topic.
Yeah.
We'll start with you, Reagan.
Oh man, I love Mandalorian.
Okay.
I thought it was really good. I thought the middle 2 episodes, you can cut them out and it doesn't change much. Middle 3, I guess.
Yeah.
No, 3's the cool one. Wait, yeah, 4, 5, 6.
5 and 6. Yeah.
Although 6 was really good. The
Which
jail,
one was
the jail one.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah,
awesome.
that one was really cool. I like when all the lights go out and you like see him like flash like up to that guy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit, they're alone on a ship with no power with the Mandalorian on there. Like they're fucked. Yeah, no, I thought it was a really good show. I'm excited for what Disney does with the Disney Plus shows.
Interesting.
I think the Obi-Wan show is going to be really good, and apparently the Cassian Andor show is supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't heard much.
right.
I haven't heard much news.
I haven't either. I saw something about it today. Let me see if I can find it.
So while he's looking for that, what is your overall thoughts?
Mandalorian felt to me like Empire Strikes Back, which is my favorite. It was kind of that first fresh feeling, the good slapstick humor, but the interest in the galaxy. And I'm a big fan of getting meat about the Force, and I didn't need it with this, which was cool. Even though Yoda, little baby Yoda, I don't necessarily care too much about him. Like, I care about the Mandalorians, and if you watch some of these different animated series, you care a little bit more about them. And I mean, let's face it, Boba Fett fan, and I want everything Boba Fett. So the future of Star Wars for me is, let's dive into this. I mean, is that Boba Fett? All signs say probably. I mean, the
Mandalorian is Boba Fett?
No, not the Mandalorian. The
boots.
cameo, the boots.
Okay.
All signs say.
Oh, the jangly boots.
It sounds like a Boba Fett.
Transmission.
There's that little transmission that is a Boba Fett.
Was that on Tatooine?
It was on Tatooine, yes.
Okay.
Jabba's palace is on Tatooine, right?
Everything,
So
yeah.
it's
So,
a Sarlacc
like,
pit.
well, and in the Navals, the Aftermath series, it says the Sarlacc was killed. The sail barge, the debris killed the Sarlacc, and it was plundered by Jawas. And actually, Boba Fett's armor is in the book. They talk about Boba Fett's armor, like acid-stained Mandalorian armor, with actually, it might even say a dent on the helmet.
Sure.
But somebody else dons the armor, and Dengar actually like, you're no Boba Fett. And I think he like fights him, or I don't know, but something like that. But all signs say that Boba Fett is alive, which I'm surprised that they didn't capitalize on this in any of the trilogy movies. At least, I mean, like, you could have made DJ Boba Fett anytime. Benicio del Toro would have been a great aged Boba Fett, and
That's
he could
true.
have done a deal with
I
the
didn't even
Empire.
think about that.
How easy would that have been? He just happens to be there, Canto Bight, takes them, gets them to the Empire and gets his money and says, tough luck, kid. You win some, you lose some. And that's just a bounty, and he doesn't care. That would have been a beautiful Boba Fett moment.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, and what if we learned that he was putting on the arm, like, if he put
Or
the
he
armor
just
on?
he could have just been like, I could have just. He could have just been Boba Fett, and I would have been fine with it, knowing
like
that he's
full
out
uniform
there.
and everything like
Not
that?
even. He could have been just like DJ. Just call him Boba Fett, or something else. And if he didn't stutter, I would still believe he's Boba Fett.
Right.
I could still.
Maybe the stuttering was from, I don't know, falling into the.
Anyway, so the future for me. So I love the Mandalorian. Like you said, I think it's fresh. I think it's great. I think it has brought a lot of fandom to that show. People buy Disney Plus to watch this show,
Right.
And I think that's great. For me, as a Star Wars fan, I'm happy that people like that, and I want more people to like that stuff,
Sure.
So the future, you got your Obi-Wan coming out. You got your Cassian Andor, which I like
Got the
both
Clone
of those.
Wars.
Clone War season 6, 7.
Seven.
7
So I'm
Next
curious to
month.
see what they do with that.
next month.
They've left a lot of like interesting things undone. I think John Boyega will end up playing Finn another role, exploring the Force at some point, which I think would be great. It's smart for Disney. They would have a African American lead,
But
which
he's come out saying that he won't
Yeah,
do
he-
Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They won't do a
What
show.
about Mark Hamill? He also said, "I'm not gonna play Luke Skywalker." And 30 years later, look at him playing Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
So I mean, at any point in time, if John Boyega's career ends up going down the drain, guess what?
Of course,
Finn-
Don't quit your J Dub.
Everybody
Good job,
likes
kid.
Finn, so
Yep.
let's bring him back.
Yeah.
So I
Finn
think
was such a wasted character. I feel
it
so
could-
bad for him.
I think it was a great potential character, and then throwing him on that mission with Rose was just a really bizarre move.
Sure.
But JJ did try to course correct, and I think they did a okay job with it. But so I think that'll be interesting. I think they have to re-explore Ahsoka and Sabine leaving on Rebels to go find Ezra and Thrawn, Grand Admiral Thrawn. So they're going to explore that at some point.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a TV series, so I would love to see them sync some of these things. I really thought it was a missed opportunity to show some of these. Like they could have easily showed Syndulla, Hera Syndulla in Rise of Skywalker. It could have been easy split-second cameo in the Ghost. Would have been a really cool shout out to the fans, even though Ahsoka and all of them are in Rise of Skywalker, which was awesome for me. I love the yellow lightsaber. I thought that was a great touch. All these things, but I think the future is actually pretty bright because J.J. Abrams closed that story, but opened a lot of other interesting things that potentially could be explored.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carter, how about you?
So we're just talking about the future.
Well, your overall thoughts on The Mandalorian. I know we had a question in here, and let me go while you're speaking about it. Let me go back and look for it.
What I really loved about The Mandalorian, it was a Western. It was basically a spaghetti Western, the man with no name. I love old Westerns, so it kind of fell in line with what I like. I really liked the side characters. I liked the Ugnaught.
That was awesome.
I loved what's her face's name?
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune. I really like her. I'd like to see her in a different role, in a different movie, but she really played a great part in this one.
Okay.
Hey, real quick, my daughter pointed out, she's watching, she said that they point out in the show that Baby Yoda isn't genetically modified or mutated or whatever.
Really?
So the old alien guy, that's what she said. So anyway, but just to
think
note, so maybe not a clone.
I wanted to go into that when you said that because the scientist guy that he eventually rescues him from, he's got the Camino clone thing on it. And I think they're looking to clone Yoda's race.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
So
that's why they're experimenting.
So what about the future, Carter?
Yeah.
Future. They need to get back on track with making. I want them to do more, solo type movies, not just trilogies. I like to see them do
some like one-offs,
and they don't have to be theater release. They can be on Disney Plus, like Netflix does. It doesn't have to be a huge production.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that idea. What do you think about a solo sequel with Darth Maul? I mean, I know that's a sequel, but would you like to see more of that story?
Oh, definitely. I like to see what that progress because
I
want to see what happened to Kira.
Yeah, I think kind of on that. I think Star Wars kind of lends itself better to serialized content rather than big trilogy stuff. Because after watching Clone Wars, like there's just little bite-sized segments for like arcs. It's like this is your arc, and it doesn't have to be like a trilogy arc to like span a whole thing. It's just like, well, here's this story and here's that story, and there's so many like different characters and stuff that like you can just tell. Well, they did this, and that's it. So like
that's all that matters in that context.
Yeah, you don't.
Maybe we'll revisit. Maybe we won't.
You don't need all the background. The galaxy isn't in turmoil or whatever. Like these people went on this adventure, and here's that story.
So my cousin Gabe, he posted in the group chat, or not in the group chat, in the live chat, and it looks like Russell answered him, and we can kind of touch back on it for those who aren't really familiar. It's down here somewhere. He says, how is Baby Yoda 50 years old, but in the movies he's only 90? He's actually 900 years old.
900.
Baby Yoda is, well, a new character, because there's nothing. What am I trying to say?
Baby Yoda is not Yoda.
Yeah,
No,
very
good.
called
Yeah.
Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it's
Technically,
just the
he's-
only way to
he's
reference him.
The
So-
child.
Okay, my cousin Gabe, I'm 27. He's a couple years younger than me. I think he's like 22, 23 at this time. Maybe if you're still watching, comment below. Let me know. he's just now. I've been trying to get him to watch Star Wars, and he's just. As a Star Wars fan, I love when people watch Star Wars. Come in at your own pace, and when it's, I don't want to say it's almost like a religion, but it's like when Star Wars finds you, or when you find Star Wars, embrace it, and
Dude, I had Daisy at work do that, and it was so cool because she'd like text me. She finished Empire, and she's like, "What the frick?"
Yeah.
She's like, "But Darth Vader's what?" And I was like, "I don't know how you're living in 2019 and don't know that Darth Vader's Luke's father," but she didn't know it. I love that so much.
So it's nice seeing him get excited and kind of jumping into this world of Star Wars now. One, because it's cool to like Star Wars now. Before, when you like Star Wars, you're a loser. But
I think it's cool to hate on Star Wars now.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
But when people find Star Wars, or come to you with so much knowledge, or you with so much knowledge, or any of us with Star Wars, how does that make you feel? Like when they finally discover what Star Wars is and how it connects to them?
It's really cool. It's a really cool experience. Because then she also finished Return of the Jedi. She's like, wait a minute, why does Darth Vader look like that? Like, why is he like that? And I was like, well, you should watch the prequels then. Right. And like, she was like, oh, okay. And I don't know if she's ever gotten through them because they're kind of hard.
I feel like if you didn't watch the prequels when they came out, I mean, me personally, this is how I feel. It's kind of hard to get involved with them because so much politics, and the love story is not the best, but it's still better than Twilight. It can be a little rough to get through. But I mean, I don't know.
You know what? I will tell you the one thing I really liked about the sequel trilogy was incredible chemistry between Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley. I thought it was great. That kiss at the end felt right to me. At the very end of that movie, and
it was long overdue.
It felt right to me, and I don't even know that it needed to happen before that. But I was okay right then, thinking you didn't like that.
No, Russell just said that Dom just say he likes Twilight.
No, that's not what he said.
No, I actually really liked the kiss. I thought it was good.
Yeah,
honestly,
and it's comparable to a couple kisses that they forced before that, and the Finn and Rose one didn't feel right. It didn't seem like it fit. And then the one in when Natalie Portman and Anakin kiss it, like that didn't feel right.
Yeah.
It just so this felt right, and I thought and maybe it's the director, but it felt like they did it well.
JJ is really good at setting up a story and closing out a story. How do you feel? Like, we'll start with you, and then we'll go into the next topic, the big topic of today.
Rose got gypped.
You got what?
Rose got gypped.
That's how I felt when I didn't. The kiss didn't bother me. Just to quickly go on. The kiss didn't bother me, but when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, poor Finn."
Do you? It's kind of side note, and then we'll continue with you real quick. Yes or no? Did you think that Finn was trying to tell Rey that he was force sensitive? Yes or no?
Not when I saw it the first time.
Okay,
Agreed. But the second time, it made sense.
Yeah,
I think I'd already seen that it came out. That JJ had already tweeted. That's what
right.
When I saw it, I was like, "Oh, that makes so much more sense."
Well, when you watch it after having that knowledge, I mean, it happened so quick, and you could see that was about to take place.
Although I don't know why it doesn't just tell Finn.
What about Poe? What about Poe?
I think he's
What's his
nervous
big
about
secret?
When did Poe have a secret?
Because Pin and Foe back and forth.
Pin and Foe?
Pin and Foe. Jesus. Finn and Poe back and forth throughout the whole movie was like, oh, when did you learn how to do that? You ain't gonna tell me about that?
Spice Runner. That's like a drug cartel in Star Wars. And so like, right? Isn't Spice like drugs? It's like
drugs,
alluded to that it's drugs. And so the thing is like, well, that's kind of sketchy. How'd you learn that if you're just a goody two shoes fighter guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what he was getting at. Like, how do you know how to hotwire a car? It's like, don't worry about it.
Well, I also think that because I think that there's a hesitation to tell Poe that he's force sensitive because he's nervous about what's happening. I mean, there's only really Rey and evil, and so to say, hey, I think I'm force sensitive. I think it reveals a lot, and that he doesn't want to necessarily trust anybody. Because if he tells Poe and Poe falls into, let's say, Kylo Ren again, he says, "Oh, Ben's also force sensitive. Maybe I go to
I
him."
think
or
that would have
something."
been so interesting to see Finn be a stormtrooper, turn good, learn he's force sensitive, and be seduced to the dark side while Kylo comes back to the light, and it's Kylo and Rey up against
That would have
Finn.
been way too much to say.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
movie.
That is 3. That's 6
Sorry,
movies.
my mind just went boom. But,
JJ already had a lot on his plate going into
Yeah,
this
he did.
movie.
but Andy, I'm sorry. Going back to you, and what was the question? Do you think JJ closed out the trilogy
Yes.
successfully?
Yes. I do. I feel that. I feel that way.
Okay, Carter, how about you?
Yeah, I think he did. I think he fixed a lot of things that Rian Johnson messed up. One thing that really I liked is when Rey goes back to that island and finds Luke, and
That's right.
and
We
Lu-
didn't even talk about
and
Luke
Luke
in this
says,
movie.
"Man, I just screwed up. Jedi should never get rid of their lightsaber,
Oh yeah,
I really
that's
That
like
was
a
a big
Yeah.
slap.
And
Yep.
and it's a callback to the prequels when he says,
Yeah,
When,
your
uh,
lightsaber is your.
Yeah, well, Obi-Wan says, "Oh,
he finds his
your
lightsaber and
life."
says, "You need to take better care of this," or something.
That is true. All right, so let's go into the big topic, and
Are
I
we
know.
gonna- do we not finish going down the road? Or
Oh.
Did you?
I
thought
think
it
he
was
closed it out
Yep.
great. I personally would have been okay with 2 movies. If he gave that a little bit more.
Sure.
But I mean, everybody's calling for the J.J. Abrams cut.
yeah.
I would be okay with seeing some of that extra film stuff. I really wish they would have lent more toward that was Mustafar and showed some of the Darth Vader castle stuff. That's interesting because you're like, why did Darth Vader build that thing?
Didn't they say that was going to be in this movie? Was that?
Vader's castle?
Yeah.
Well-
It's just very hard to see in the background.
Yeah,
because it's flat. All the scenes are flashing very quickly.
Oh, you can see it?
Really? What scene?
In the very first.
It's the very first scene.
When
He's on Mustafar
Yeah,
when he's slashing
he
down
gets
guys.
he gets the
Really?
the what's it called?
The Wayfinder.
The Wayfinder.
That's,
Yeah.
that's
Under
Vader's castle. Yeah.
That's where he gets it. And how about that they
Wow.
revealed that Ilum
That kinda-
is Starkiller Base. You guys know Ilum
Whoa, really?
is yeah.
Oh, I did not
That
know
was in the visual dictionary also. They said that, which makes a lot of sense because, and they said that the unique, because the Empire was mining kyber crystals all over the place for the Death Stars and everything. And then they started mining Ilum and found that the core of the planet was kyber. And so they just used it as its own thing. So that was actually a legit thing. So they officially canonized Ilum being,
That's when.
and Ilum is where
Yeah.
all the Jedi got their kyber crystals.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm looking into this Mustafar
Scene.
scene, trying to find the castle. You said it's in the very back.
Yeah, it might just be these like shady. They said that I want to say that after Vader died, that
Stab.
all these things,
All the trees.
they planted trees.
Really?
Actually, it's explained in Vader Immortal.
Oh, okay. Well,
So what does all the trees mean?
Well, my dad doesn't want any spoilers.
yeah,
for
because we're
Vader
gonna
Immortal,
do
so-
Vader Immortal, so
Oh.
that's a VR experience,
Yeah,
right?
it's a VR experience, and it's
Don't try to spoil that.
Oh
one.
gosh, I'm sorry.
yeah, no, it's
Oh, you can do it real quick.
Okay, no. We don't. I mean, if you don't want anything spoiled for you, we'll definitely.
Yeah, spoiler king.
Yeah.
Boy.
No, not you,
Oh,
Carter.
man.
All right. So I can't believe this is a news topic, and it's just like my wife loves everything about this. I don't. So, according to the making of StarWars.com, and they're a huge, reliable site when it comes to Star Wars news. So, we all know that Obi-Wan Kenobi is coming to Disney Plus series, and it's rumored, and apparently it's anticipated to include the return of Jar Jar Binks. According to, like I said, making of StarWars.com, Ben Kenobi will cross paths with Jar Jar Binks, the Phantom Menace's diverse Gungan who many fans hate, but has gained almost a cult following in recent years. It said that early work is being conducted to bring him back with CGI. And if they do, I hope he looks 1,000 times better instead of just being a whole solid character. And apparently he'll have a beard when we see him again to mark the passing of time and what he's been through since Palpatine's true nature was revealed.
I have so many fans.
Reagan.
I don't hate it. I don't hate Jar Jar. I wasn't an adult when I saw Phantom Menace, so I was a child.
Okay, so you loved everything about.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I guess so. He was a silly boy. Yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting
Okay.
to see like.
Well, I probably of the group was the most adult. Well, Carter and I, when I saw Jar Jar Binks. Did you see that?
Yeah.
When I saw Jar Jar Binks.
I don't think this can happen.
How doesn't it?
Well, no, Boss Nass has a beard.
He does?
Yeah.
I think so.
Does he?
No
I
way.
just thought he had a
pretty
fat chin.
Pretty sure. Oh, you know, I might be
Big
thinking of
double
Watto.
chin.
I think I'm thinking of Watto.
Maybe.
Guado?
Yeah.
Watto
Watto has a beard.
Oh, me and Carter are the same age, so
Okay, so
yeah.
well, all that to say, when so I was like you when I
Boss
was.
Nass just has a big double
Okay,
chin.
well, whatever.
Wait.
Maybe they're the same age, you just different
Did,
species.
did one of the generals or guys have like a mustache, or was that just his whiskers?
Captain Tarples.
Yeah, I think so.
Google Tarples. Anyway, so I was older going into it, and I'll be honest, I never had a problem with Jar Jar until people made it a problem.
Really?
And then I started to
Think about it.
dig into it. So I was like you, between episode 1 and 2, I wanted all the spoilers. Yeah, some little
Little dangly things.
So I was really interested. Matter of fact, Ahmed Best did a weekly like at the time you could be a Star Wars fan club member.
Right.
You had a card.
Yeah,
you
I had
could
one
get
of those.
exclusive images on Star Wars hyperspace.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
a thing.
uh-huh.
And Ahmed Best did like a weekly podcast of what was going on set, and
Oh,
he would
that's
talk
awesome.
about it. And I was also excited, and I liked Ahmed Best. I thought he was a pretty cool guy, and so I never really had as big of a problem with Jar Jar as most people did. I understood why he used a character. In hindsight, yeah, he's silly. He's kind of unnecessary, but it's there, and you have to acknowledge it. And so, if you read the Aftermath books, I believe it's in Aftermath. It's one of the current canon books. They do reintroduce Jar Jar older after all this conflict, and he's like a circus clown on the street. Not a circus clown, but he's like a street performer that juggles things, and he's silly.
Really?
Yeah, and I mean, it has a whole kind of page, 2 pages of him, and it says like the kids would run around and play with him, and he would look up to this guys with eyes that seem like they know more than they're telling, or something like that. It was very vague, but it was Jar Jar Binks. I mean, they very specifically, it was Jar Jar Binks, So I'm curious to see if they bring Jar Jar. I'd be okay with it. I think that if they told a story, they would have to really make it good, or this would be a bad thing. And Ahmed Best, man, that guy was suicidal. He was, I mean, he got a lot of rap. This is the same thing as Marie Tran, like people dogging them. Like they played the character as they were told, they won a role as they, got it. And then people are like, you're stupid. And, like, wow,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just doing what I was being told to do.
Same thing with the kid that played young Anakin.
With Jake Lloyd.
Yeah, he like is schizophrenic or something now because of Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah,
It's crazy.
like he's been in a couple of asylums.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard something.
Yeah.
That's
Mental
right.
issue.
He's had a couple run-ins with the law too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He like stole his mom's car or something and had a car chase or something.
Well,
In
that-
LA.
Did you guys-
Something without the back two wheels? It was just on rims for like maybe like half a mile.
Oh, wow. That's Jake Lloyd?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And did you see like Daniel Logan, who was Boba Fett? He is actually in the last couple of years had this like bring back Boba Fett movement, hashtag bring back the real Boba Fett or the real Boba Fett. And I
Yeah.
mean, he had Boba Fett armor made for him. And I mean, he could still, rock it if he needed to, but it'd be curious to see if in The Mandalorian they said, hey, we're going to give a shout out to,
Yeah.
Daniel Logan or, Tamura Morrison. Morrison.
Let's call him Tim.
Tim.
Yeah, but because he could also play that Boba Fett role. I mean,
Sure.
that's his voice.
Yeah.
That is
They
true.
kind of did
Ahmed
that to David
Best also
Cross
has that
too,
David
Legends
Cross?
of the Jedi Temple show
didn't they?
coming out
Original Dark
on
Lord.
Disney Plus.
What?
Yeah, it's like a Secrets of the Hidden Temple, like the old Nickelodeon game show. They're doing that for kids, but it's like Star Wars themed
That's
on
cool.
Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, the game.
and he's like the
show, yeah.
host of it.
Oh, that's
Uh-huh.
neat. Good
Yeah.
for him.
That raises kind of a good question, I think. Okay, you could be in Star Wars, but you'd have to be Jar Jar. Would you do it?
Every day.
Because you'd be in Star Wars. You would be in Star Wars. You might be one of the most hated characters, but this is the only role you're ever going to get in the Star Wars movie. And
Well,
you know it.
You know what I find is interesting about Jar Jar? Apparently, what he say?
Dream scenario Jar Jar comes back and is immediately killed by
Returning Boba Fett.
Me so
No,
like it.
I have a good fan theory.
There is a Revenge of the Sith trailer out there, and I'm trying to find it. I don't know if you guys remember or not. So, for whatever reason, in this trailer, it shows what I'm about to say, and then later on, it shows the same scene, and it was cut. One of the trailers for Revenge of the Sith, it was like one of the first trailers that came out.
Mhm.
Anakin is walking up the stairs with the clones behind him, wearing a hood. Jar Jar Binks is standing next to him, walking up the stairs
Wait, is it a
too.
legit trailer?
It's a legit trailer, and he's wearing a hood.
no.
Yeah, I remember seeing it as a
You
kid.
looking for it?
It's out there. It's I'm
Find the
Okay.
JJ cut, the Jar Jar
Yeah,
cut.
George,
I will, and of course when I
That's
find this,
really funny.
he's good to me dead. He's good to me dead.
He's good to me.
I
No
see.
disintegration.
That goes with my
Who's-
fan theory.
Real quick, who's James Johnson? Johnson.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
you?
Yeah.
Okay, my brother-in-law, his name is James Johnson.
Well,
That's funny.
it's a pretty generic name for Americans.
You're welcome.
So I'm like, my brother-in-law is watching this right now. He could care less about Star Wars, but and then when he's like, he's good to me dead, I'm like, wait a minute, who is this?
I like to come up with stupid fan theories. Whoops. And so my awesome
I'm not seeing it.
Obi-Wan fan theory
It's out there.
is Jar Jar comes back, right? But he's really a Dark Lord of the Sith. It's Dark Jar Jar, and he's like, "You so thinking I didn't know what I was doing the whole time, did you?" And then, accordingly, Obi-Wan just chops his head off, and is like, "Yeah." But I forgot what were our questions.
I watched the Clone Wars series not too long ago, and his episodes were kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like there was that one with Mace Windu, and like every time we do something, Mace Windu would just be like, like, come on, man. I'm trying to do like Jedi stuff here.
Remember, there's the story arc where he poses the
so
Jedi.
in the trailer,
And,
Anakin's walking, and then Jar Jar Binks is on this side of him.
I think you got duped.
Yeah,
No,
it was
no,
an early deep fake.
Yeah.
it's out there. I will find it.
I googled it and I didn't see anything.
Hashtag find the Jar Jar cut.
Yeah, if any of you guys can find that out there, go ahead and
There's some
Tweet
rando that's
at one
watching
of
this
us.
is like, I'm gonna make this.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. So
that was it. It's like, no, it wasn't.
no, it's out. I remember seeing it. I see this image so clearly, and maybe it's like the Mandela effect, if that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because I remember I see it clear as day in my head.
Well, y'all
And I
remember
can-
when the Jar Jar Dark Sith Lord thing was like going around? That like that there was that line that people kept saying about George Lucas, where he said, Jar Jar's the key to all this from like early like Phantom Menace, like
He plays the fool.
yeah.
You know?
I don't know. I think that's silly, but
Erik.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Did you read any of the expanded universe books?
The old ones.
Like at least from New Jedi Order on.
Oh, like Legacy of the Force. Like I read all those.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. I don't know. It's the one with the Yuzun Vong.
Yuuzhan Vong. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
There's
Darth
a
Caedus and Jason Solo.
there's a part in there when they're gathering an army to fight the Vong
Yeah.
that they run across. Han and Leia and somebody run across this group of Mandalorians, and there's this thing where
Right.
they're like, they don't like throw the peace sign, but Han's like, that one guy looks kind of familiar, and so they're hinting at that's Boba Fett, that he survived the
Right.
Sarlacc pit, because even I don't know, you said earlier that the Sarlacc was killed, but even if it wasn't killed, it's like, what does he say? You're going to be digested in the Sarlacc
Of a
for 1,000
thousand
years.
years.
Yeah, so you're not going to die at first, but I ran across that in the book. I don't know if you'd remember.
Yeah.
that.
No, I totally remember. And actually, I think in the old the Legends books, they did bring back Boba Fett, and
Oh, did
he
they?
had encounters with Han.
Oh,
several
okay,
times.
okay.
Yeah.
That was my only kind of extended universe and
I will
and
say
it was-
one of the best series I ever read in the Legacy books was Legacy of the Jedi. And it talked about so much really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And for them, and they literally left when they swapped over to the new canon. It essentially just like they left it on like a cliffhanger
Yeah.
book when
Oh, no,
Han Solo's
really?
like grandchild was about to do something, and
Yeah.
then never got to finish that story.
Oh, man.
I just real quick, like I said, I got
I know.
I'm going through every single trailer.
I got late to the expanded universe,
Yeah.
and so I'm reading on, and then I'm like, where's Chewie? Where's Chewie in the expanded universe? And then I finally come across a part where oh yeah, Chewie got
Vector
a planet
Prime.
dropped on him, and I was
Vector
like,
Prime.
no, they killed Chewie. What the heck?
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, did you hear why they killed him off?
No.
The reason why they killed him off, and I think it was who wrote a lot of those books. He still writes, but the reason they killed him off is because it was so hard to articulate Chewbacca in books. I mean, seriously,
Yeah,
they couldn't say like, and Chewbacca replied, "That sounds like a great idea. Let's go do it." If you Google why did they kill off Chewbacca,
Yeah.
oh
my gosh.
that's the reason, was because it was hard to articulate,
Interesting.
and so they just killed him off.
What did y'all think about his fake out death in Rise of Skywalker?
Oh.
Dom and I cried.
I
But
cried.
rewatching it, I've seen it a lot now. And now that I know that it's coming, I don't think it lingers long enough. Because it's like, he's dead. No, he's not.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm kind
but
of.
in the moment, first time watching it, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
They did what?
and-
And it felt like it was too long the first time.
Yeah.
Real quick, Gabe,
What's up,
your
man?
question: why do they show man's face in Star Wars? Whose face? What man?
Like Mandalorian?
Mando? Why? Okay, why don't they show Mando's face?
No, why do they? Maybe
Why
Why
do
do
they?
they?
because remember
They show his face?
spoiler alert.
Do they really?
Yeah.
He takes off his helmet?
Yeah,
Maybe.
One,
kind of.
maybe.
Sort of.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Nothing
He
living.
doesn't care.
I don't
He's not even trying to
Yes,
watch it. I tried
you
to
see
get him
his
to watch
face.
it the other day. And he's just
Really?
like playing on
It's
the
just Pedro Pascal.
What?
It's just Pedro Pascal.
Right. Well,
But it doesn't have
throughout
eyebrows.
the whole.
I mean,
wasn't
it's
that the
Pedro
biggest
Pascal
complaint
with his
throughout the
head.
whole series?
He didn't
Was
like get it
it was a
crushed,
stunt,
like,
a
by
stunt
the
double in
mountain.
the costume because Pedro Pascal couldn't.
Well, it was
What
a
stuff.
It
Yeah,
was
but-
There's a
I
lot
mean,
of
there was
stuff
a
they
lot-
probably couldn't do.
well, but I mean, he played what's his face in Game of Thrones, and
Right,
he's incredible. He's an acrobat, and he can do a lot of
Yeah.
things. But everybody has stunt doubles.
Well,
Yeah.
no. One of the things was he didn't. the show was already in production and filming. It was halfway through once they announced that he came onto the show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So a lot of people were like, the way he's talking and moving, they aren't lining up correctly. And but there's some scenes when it's him filming later episodes. He's actually in the suit
Oh, interesting.
compared to the.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either.
That thing about the Cassian Andor show said that they just started on it, and so that
They did.
Yeah, and so maybe D23 this year there'll be a release date. Although I only saw Rogue One once. Apparently K2.
Only once?
Yeah.
Wow.
Apparently K2 is supposed to be in
K2SO?
the Cassian show, but they didn't meet until in Rogue One, did they?
No, they were already a couple.
Oh, they were. Okay.
So this is before Rogue One. Oh, well,
Oh,
of course,
yeah.
because he
Has
died
to
at
be.
the end.
Yeah.
Duh.
Duh.
All right. What was I going to say? Any final Star Wars topics you want to touch on or talk about before we start wrapping this up?
I know I have some, but I forgot.
Well, let me ask you this: what do you think the end game for the child is? Baby Yoda. What do they do with him? So they just basically
Smother
he's
him.
now a part of Mando's clan.
Mhm.
You know,
The kid
clan
can
of
take
two.
some-
Get a little set of
some
armor. and,
hits.
you know,
So what do we do with
I
him?
hope he gets armor.
Like-
I hope he gets Mando
tiny
armor.
little jetpack.
Right?
I hope he gets Mando armor.
A badass, force sensitive.
Dude,
He's
okay.
gonna be like this tall.
Yeah. Do y'all think he's alive during the sequel trilogy?
That was such a good question.
I think so. Well, they were saying Mandalorian was going to play into Rise of Skywalker.
And I don't think it did.
Well, I think the force healing.
Oh yeah, there's the force
'Cause
healing.
That's why they
But-
released it on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, quick, we got to get this in before people really freak out when Rise of Skywalker.
and then
comes
people
on.
still really freaked out.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think they're going to find him someplace to seclude himself.
I've got some questions for Eric, but
Let me just comment real quick. I actually think that, well, it should blow everybody's mind knowing that the child has been alive throughout the entire first six movies,
Mhm.
which is crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he was alive with all the Jedi alive, you know,
he would have been
just
okay.
born, but he would have
It's
been
from
alive.
episode 1 to episode what is
Six.
it? 6. That's like 60 years or something.
I think it's
Ish,
30,
or-
wasn't it?
It's
Isn't it 30?
about 30 years because, you know, Anakin Skywalker's what, like 10 in episode 1?
Yeah,
Something like
yeah,
that.
And then
yeah.
episode 2, he's
10
like
10 years.
Right,
10 years
so
later,
he's definitely
it's like
alive for
20.
the whole thing.
There's an 18-year gap between 3 and 4.
Right.
Luke
So
says
But I
that-
mean, other than
that
Yoda and
brings you
Yaddle,
to
we
about
haven't seen
30 to
any of
40
those-
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Luke, I thought Luke was in his 20s.
No, he's supposed to
No,
be a
I'm pretty
teen.
sure he's like
19
18
or
or something like that.
because he's about to be old enough to go
Join
to the academy.
Yeah, because he was a
Okay.
whiny little bitch.
So anyway, so I think it's interesting that this little thing has existed from either like right at the time, but Palpatine was around, maybe even knew about it. Yoda maybe even knew about it. You know, like I said, I would be so interested to see what's going on the dark side of this, you know, the house, because, you know, what if this was after the Empire fell, somebody somehow went and found all these like Empire remnants or something, and there was a factory that Palpatine had that had a bunch of experimental stuff, and like one of them was this like, you know, alive creature.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so it's really interesting to see what the deal is.
What if this Baby Yoda is what? What am I missing?
I'm stupid. I'm
So,
thinking of-
Too old to begin training. What if Baby Yoda is almost Yoda? You know how they can come back as Force ghosts.
Yeah.
What if this is his way? You know how the Emperor says, you know.
But he would still be alive though,
See, I originally thought that maybe
No.
in the species,
because he's 50.
Yoda.
No,
And
Yoda had just died.
Yoda had just died.
And
Oh,
Return
yeah,
of the
What
Jedi.
if this
No,
is what if this is his way of, when
Yoda
he
was alive while he
Gotcha.
was alive.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
Well, then he comes back as a Force ghost in the sequel trilogy. So,
but he pulls the
midi-chlorians.
jumping trilogies.
Hammer.
Jesus,
Back-
Baltimore.
Voldemort. Oh,
Voldemort.
the
comes,
like Horcruxes.
yeah, comes back and somehow.
Well, I mean, Palpatine was able to put himself into a new body. What if Yoda somehow learned to do the same thing? I don't
So-
know.
Okay, did you guys ever read the books, the Darth Bane books, like Rule of Two? Okay, so I'm a spoiler on this one. It's not canon anymore, but Darth Bane instilled the Rule of Two because there was too much chaos in the Sith, and
Right.
everybody was just
Darth Vader's
wanting.
canon.
He's canon, but
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
if this story,
Okay,
the
gotcha,
books aren't
gotcha.
necessarily canon. But what happens is that he has he kills off all the Sith with a mind bomb or something like that.
Sure.
But kills everybody off and then ends up having an apprentice, this girl. And so the last two books, he has this apprentice. And in the end of the last book, she kills him and then saves him. But he ends up dying. But at the very, very, very end of that book, because it talks about him passing on his essence to the next apprentice
Right.
or next person. And so her physical body remains, but it subtly hints that it's actually him in this body, the very last scene of it. So, and that would go along with how Palpatine is trying to get Rey to have him strike him down. So then he lives through her, like all of the Sith are then, all of the history is in then, which leads me to, if Palpatine's dead now, where's the dark? Like,
That's what I was wondering.
Where
too,
do the
after
Sith-
watching.
Yeah,
Go.
there has to be true balance somewhere. There's a light and a dark. Without a dark, there's no balance.
I don't know.
What was it
That's
that-
always been the question.
what are
How is it
the-
balanced?
That kind of makes a lot of sense though now, because that's why Palpatine was grooming Anakin, because he at that point he was
Jesus.
the most what
No, when you say grooming Anakin, I just got a bad image. Sorry.
anyway grooming Anakin to become a Sith, because he's the most powerful, or will become the most powerful Jedi or Sith, and so then he's going to basically like possess him or whatever, pass on his essence.
Yes,
But
Russell.
then of course he gets his arms
am.
and legs chopped off, and what's Russell?
He said that I was Team Edward, and I said yes, I am. Vampires over werewolves any day.
No way, dude. Sparkly vampire stuff.
I want a Darth Vader TV show. After seeing the end of Rogue One,
Wow.
where
Yeah,
Darth Vader just
Arguably,
Goes crazy.
Yeah,
arguably the best scene of all the movies.
Okay, so
I want a Darth Vader TV show where he's just kicking ass.
I think
and he's not even taking names.
No, he doesn't care about the names. He just wants to kill.
oh gosh,
I
what
want to
was
see somebody like force headbutt two people together, like bonk.
who? I see the image in my head. He's bald. He's got the thing around his mouth.
Lobot? Oh, Darth Malik.
Darth
Or
Malgus. Who?
Malgus.
Malgus?
August.
Yeah, I was strongly blank on his name. I think we should have got a different version of Vader in Revenge of the Sith. I feel like in Revenge of the Sith, we got the Vader outfit too soon.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should have. That would have been something to build
kind
up
of,
to.
some kind of
That
in,
whole
in
movie was
between
rushed.
type.
Yeah, and we're not quite there yet. Vader suit, but it's something that they quickly put together, and it still resembles
Oh,
Vader,
yeah,
and
like
it-
pre.
That'd be
like
cool.
Okay,
a pre-Vader,
well,
and it
yeah.
helps.
That would have been really cool. But let me ask you, sorry, Devil's Advocate. Did you read the Revenge of the Sith novelization and then the
as a-
following book?
I read the Revenge of the Sith as a kid.
And then the book that followed it was like Darth Vader Rises or Rising or something like that. But there was a book trilogy for that movie that
Really?
they came out with, and right after the book that followed what you saw, it showed that Palpatine very purposefully made him clunky, and it explained why he doesn't move well. He very purposely jammed him into this
Keep him angry, right?
to keep him angry, to keep him, but also to keep him at bay, so that he couldn't be as mobile as he used to be. And
Really?
it was really interesting. I mean, it describes it in there, but it's not canon anymore. So who knows, But it was really cool to kind of read that and his thoughts, and thinking about Padme and being pissed about it and all that stuff.
Interesting.
But that would have been cool to see like a mask.
And like just seeing burnt
Yeah,
head.
without
Okay,
the-
so talking about that, so in the original Battlefront 3 for PS3, which never actually came out, they had a bunch of concept art of a bunch of side switched legacy characters.
Sure.
And there was one of Anakin, if he was light side after he got defeated by Obi-Wan, and he had like exactly as you were saying, but like lighter robes. You
Really?
should look up the image. It's actually really cool. It's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
absolutely.
There's a bunch of other ones. Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch did you ever play the Revenge of the Sith video game?
Oh yeah.
No.
This is where I learned that I like spoilers. Because yes, I played the Revenge of the Sith video game, and I played that game before I was taken to see the movie.
No way!
And the cutscenes of the movie, everything that happened in the movie pretty much happened in the game.
I didn't realize they released it before the movie.
Yeah, it came out.
Or the day of.
It came out 2 days before the movie came out.
That's crazy.
Because I got it at GameStop, and I played the game, and I was like, well, guess I know how Revenge of the Sith happens.
Well, the cool thing about that particular game, which is actually it's a really good game.
It is.
At the end of the game, it has an alternate ending. And the alternate
Oh, yeah.
ending
you're
is
right,
that
it does.
he actually beats Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And the Emperor comes up, he's like, good job,
Oh,
Anakin. And then he kills the Emperor, and Anakin's like, it's my galaxy. And it's cool. It's like,
That's
like
right.
a really interesting what if.
Because the game is 2 players, and you can play as either Anakin or
Either
Obi-Wan
way,
with
yeah.
Crown.
Yeah.
Oh, I
But
forgot
you
all
can
about
go
that.
to you can YouTube the video of the alternate ending for that, and it's kind of cool just to see that play out. Like, what if he did kill it? I've got the high ground, Anakin. Don't try it.
Yeah. That is awesome.
Don't underestimate my power.
Yep. Oh, man. Oh, my chest just popped.
The whole thing would change. I have a problem. I don't understand the rule of 2.
Okay.
Because there's always more than 2 Sith at any given time. And like, okay, with
This is
with post Order 66 between 3 and 4, I know that Inquisitors have come into the thing in some form or the other. And I'm like, okay, they got red lightsabers, they got force powers.
But they're not
Are they-
Sith.
They're not Sith.
They're former Jedi
Yeah.
that has been
Well, I
recruited
mean,
to hunt down other
was
Jedi.
friggin' Anakin. He was a Jedi.
But think about Aj Ventress. Are you familiar with Ventress? she was
no.
she was
I
also
mean,
a-
yes, I know who she is.
She's a dark side user that wanted to be a Sith, but she wasn't good enough, and they wouldn't let her be a Sith. But so she essentially was like this rogue dark side user. So there's people that can wield the
dark
Force,
side. Yeah.
but
You
I
can
think
speak up a little bit.
to be labeled.
Is that me? I think he's talking to James because he was asking. He was talking.
Oh
about-
yeah, probably. But to be like considered a Sith Lord, I think it has to be like when Palpatine dubbed
Yeah.
Rise.
And
Lord
don't you have to
Vader.
like either kill the one apprentice or something like? That's what I got from
I think to take the master,
Yeah.
the reins of the master, and then you take on your own apprentice. But
because that was kind of the whole deal is why
Mm.
he was it's part of the seduction, but he was egging Anakin to kill Dooku. He's like, no, just kill him, chop his fucking head off.
yeah,
And then he I mean, not at that point, but then he kind of sort of like took the role of dark side apprentice.
yeah.
Because
I-
Dooku was like, hey man.
Well, I think part of it is like I think you train your apprentice till you see a worthy
yeah.
successor.
Yeah.
And if he saw that obviously my apprentice is a lesser form of what I need, and this one would be superior.
Right.
I mean, maybe like have all your kind of
And-
eggs out there, and then whichever one hatches.
And that's what he
Stronger.
also said to Luke in Return of the Jedi. He's like, "Good, use your hatred, strike down your father, and become something, and rule the
You'll
galaxy at my
become-
side," or
yeah.
whatever he said.
My biggest
Kill your
complaint with
father, become my student.
my biggest complaint with Palpatine is they're always changing his look.
Yeah, what was the deal?
Have you
with
noticed
the-
that?
What was the deal in the Rise of Skywalker?
It just looked like
We was fine. Older episode 2.
yeah,
Palpatine, Sidious.
I was expecting them to see like okay, it was cool with his hands, seeing his finger grow back, but I wanted to see Palpatine look more how Snoke looked.
No, his face looked like actually pretty cool. Like fine.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, which could be like your theory where he was always like that. Maybe that was always him, and he was just using like these, cloney bodies, so maybe he never was necessarily injured or something.
Yeah.
Hey, but can we talk about how they used Ralph McQuarrie's throne, which was awesome?
Yeah.
That Sith
Yeah.
throne. That was concept art from Ralph McQuarrie.
Oh,
Which,
yeah.
was
From the
really
original,
cool.
Yeah, from Return of the Jedi.
I love that he did that.
Yep.
Would
So-
y'all have been okay if Rey had fallen to the dark side? I think that would have been really interesting. Ben gets redeemed, Rey falls to the dark side, and Ben has to kill her.
I think it was too predictable.
But they don't
Yeah.
turn into sort of like spy versus spy thing, where they're just both like
It's fine.
equally,
It's fine.
you know.
Hang on. My
Oh,
thing.
oh,
Yeah, okay, let me counter that. At the end of the trilogies, the prequel, that Obi-Wan and Anakin fight, I want to see that fight between Kylo and Rey in Rise of Skywalker. I wanted to see a lightsaber battle
Like
between
an emotional. Yeah.
an emotional one and one that, that battle was like 20 minutes long, but something that was very impactful and really took a long time to flush itself out because they were on the Death Star,
Mhm.
they fought, and then who dies first? Kylo, right?
Yeah.
She stabs Kylo. I felt like that it wasn't long enough, that battle between them. It just seems like zoom, 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 stab, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm just
Well, but I mean, what's interesting is that they show her tired. They show her like she's trying to fight, and I think they're both like tired.
Well, just
You
think they've
know.
been climbing through that.
Yeah, she like looks at her hand
the
and
remains of that Death
squeezes
Star.
it or whatever.
Well, they're
Yeah.
also trying to like also give Shadow like she isn't like extremely.
that's pretty cool looking.
I took it as she's not centered because she just finds out that she's a Palpatine, so she's off her game, and
Yeah,
that's
when
why.
when Rey's like going to get the Wayfinder, like she's like kind of scary. Like she's like kind of crazy, and Kylo's like, "Dude, you need to chill," and she's like, "No, I'm
you need
not
to calm
gonna
down.
chill."
You're being too loud.
Yeah, like,
Taylor Swifter.
I don't know. It would have been cool to see that and just see her like. I guess people would have complained it's too rushed after she finds out she's a Palpatine and like
What is that? That's like
goes straight to kill him.
the back here.
Well,
She went to Porg Planet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, what if she didn't? What if she went straight to kill him?
Oh, then she would be.
Yeah,
She'd be all this. Yes.
They wouldn't be able to do
But-
that sleight of hand in the end.
Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. What do you think about? I call it forced transmigration.
Forced transmigration.
Being able to like hand
Force
somebody
mail.
something else across a great distance, like when Kylo gets the lightsaber.
Okay.
or Ben. He's
I
really Ben.
want you to know that I think this is one thing that I thought Ryan Johnson did that was the most interesting was do this force bond
Yeah.
between the two.
The
Yeah.
dyads.
And to give them this
Connection.
that you haven't seen before, and I thought they did a good job of building that
Is it back
connection.
here?
At first it was like, "What, you see me?" and then it was like, "Could we actually touch?"
Okay.
Yeah.
And then could we not only just touch, could we interact somewhat?
Yeah.
That's
And I
pretty
think that was a really neat Well, and for him to like pull the beads off,
Yeah.
and her to be able to put two and two together that I could interact with him in a different way if we did this right.
Yeah.
I thought that
I
scene.
thought that was actually pretty cool, and I was what a hero, and I mean I was emotional in that moment that he was going to take down these guys. But speaking of which, Knights of Ren never really got their fair share.
Yeah.
Just like the Death Troopers never got their fair share.
Or
Yeah.
Because-
Phasma.
Or Phasma got her fair share. The Final Order, you got all your Sith troopers. You know, they introduced these incredibly cool characters that never I don't believe that the Knights of Ren are awesome yet. I mean, in the comics, they're kind of fleshing that out.
Yeah, they
the
are.
Knights of Ren
What if there's a Knights of Ren Disney Plus show?
never will be,
That'd be so cool.
but that would be cool. Like I said, they should do a Dark Side. Dark Side, like 4, 5, and 6 would be incredible. You wouldn't even have to have. You could have Darth Vader because just James Earl Jones is still alive. Quake gets some voices.
But now
Yeah.
I don't even. They didn't even use James Earl Jones for the Rise of Skywalker.
They wouldn't need to.
They have the technology now.
They could. I would. If
He
I
didn't
was-
do the voice at the end, or not? It's at the beginning.
Kylo, could you not? Wait, what's it say? Kylo, could you not?
I don't know what that means. Oh, could you wear a shirt when we force bond? Could you not?
Oh yeah, when that one scene in Last
Oh,
Jedi.
she's like, can you
When-
cover this up?
when he said-
Oh, I see what he's talking
Staring at her without the shirt on.
Hey, real quick. This is like random, but you know how you're talking about wanting like Vader to maybe have just like
Like a respirator or something.
yeah. When did you watch that movie first time in the theater? No spoilers. Well, it didn't even matter if you had spoilers. But
Revenge of the
episode
Sith?
3, yeah.
Yeah.
How cool is it though? That moment when that helmet comes on
Oh yeah.
and
Yep. That was pretty cool.
I mean, I got goosebumps, and I thought that was awesome. Like that particular moment. Now, when he said Padme or no,
Was that in the movie? The
Yeah.
No? I don't remember that being in the theater.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
it?
it was.
No.
You killed I don't even remember because I don't watch that part very much.
No, I
All right,
couldn't
he's
have.
Vader,
She
turn
was
it off.
alive.
But
I
it was
can
a cool
feel it.
moment. I love that. Which also, like, I hated that Holdo was the one that pulled the Holdo maneuver. It should have been Akbar every time. Like,
Yeah.
kill everybody else, make Akbar in charge.
He wanted it to be Leia.
Or Leia. I mean, I guess it would have been too obvious. Here's
What, with
the biggest
The
problem.
hold-on maneuvers. When she turns around and she.
Oh,
lightspeed
yeah.
rams
Yeah.
It should have been Leia. Leia should have died there.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I wish she didn't die, period. But
Did you notice the hold-on maneuver above? Endor?
I didn't re-look at that, but I've heard somebody notice that.
what's up, Reagan?
John noticed that Rey's hilt is her staff.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
see that, which is kind of cool. Is it connected? It doesn't show. does it?
No, it's not because you can see it on her hip.
Close
Uh,
in, like you can't see the end of the other end.
Oh, but when
Yeah.
she's
Wasn't
walking up,
that-
you see
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
When she's walking up,
you
see
can
it.
actually
also,
see
it
it.
also like flashes green and blue, and then it goes yellow. like
Yeah.
a lightsaber.
It flashes green and blue.
Yeah, like
There's,
underneath, there's like some
lights that
vents
flash.
Really?
around it. And it
Colorblind,
flashes
can't
green
tell.
and Blue. Yeah.
So, well,
I was just
No, I don't
check
think
it
it's
out.
actually her
Oh.
hilt, but it's like shaped, or it's like shaped like her staff.
Yeah.
so let me ask you
Familiar
this:
to
we're,
Sean.
we're at 2 hours and 7 minutes. Do you guys want to keep going, or do you guys? I mean, it's up to you.
Oh, I've got a really good.
I'm in this space until 11.
I've got a really good question for Eric
Down for
that
whatever.
he missed
Okay,
in
question.
our other show.
You're gonna ask me?
What?
What's the question?
What?
Oh no, I was asking. Do you guys want to keep
Oh
going?
no,
or-
yeah.
but he. I'm fine.
I'm
fine.
just saying that I do have another question.
Oh! I was waiting for you to ask me the question.
Okay, we had this on the last Star Wars show.
Okay.
And I think it was a user question.
I'm actually going to do right back.
All right. What was it? You can pick. Was it one movie from Disney, one movie from Lucas?
Oh yes, yes. That was a viewer
okay.
question.
You're trapped on a desert island for the next 40 years, and you can only pick one Disney era Star Wars film and one Lucas era Star Wars film. What would it be?
100% Empire.
Yeah.
But that's always been my.
Yeah. Go to.
Um, Does Disney? Because Lucasfilm is 1, 2, and 3 also, huh?
Yeah. Prequels, original,
And
and then
is Rogue One Disney?
Yeah.
Yes, Disney.
Rogue One, Solo.
Oh yeah,
and
that's right. Rogue
the
One.
sequel
So-
trilogy.
Okay, so I can pick one Disney to go with. I hate to say it, but I really love The Rise of Skywalker still.
Yeah.
So far, it's fresh, it's new,
Yeah.
but it answers a lot of questions for me, and there's still a lot I want to see in it.
Yeah.
But I did love, I really enjoyed Rogue One. I thought that was a fun movie. If you read the prequel book to that Rogue One movie is a lot better.
Oh wow. Really?
Yeah, it's called Catalyst.
Yeah, it was good.
And it talks about Galen Erso, which is her father, the
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
And it really explores kyber crystals in that book. So it's interesting to see the movie after that. But Catalyst, that was the book.
Catalyst.
Man, but I like Solo too. I think I'd probably have to say for me right now it's Rise of Skywalker. There's a lot of emotion in that. There's a lot of fan service. I love that they threw Ahsoka Tano and
Oh yeah.
Kanan Jarrus and a lot of the
Non-film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Do you think Ahsoka's dead then? Does that mean
That would mean she was dead.
So did you see what what's the guy's name? Dave Filoni. Did you see his tweet
What do you say?
after he sent out he drew a picture of Gandalf.
You didn't draw it.
Oh yeah.
And Ahsoka said,
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people thought I was dead too.
Uh-huh.
And he created Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So do we know what Ahsoka is or what her
Twilight?
no,
species is?
Same
It's
race as Shakti.
Shakti, which is I forget
Oh.
what that is.
You can look at Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Like who?
Twilight, is that the ones with the
Yeah.
the big thing?
Oh,
That's the
wait,
bib
never
14.
mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's not a Twilight.
Yeah.
That was just the first one.
Reagan, what's Ahsoka?
What's your race issue?
Same as Shakti.
Yeah,
that's what we already said
Same Michelle T. Oh man.
It starts with an A.
What race is Ahsoka Tano?
So we're 2 hours and 11 minutes in, and let me just quickly do some plugging here.
to Gruda.
To Gruda.
To Gruda.
Okay.
And I'm gonna have to leave here in a bit. So,
Okay, that's fine. We can wrap up if you want.
Y'all show.
So I want to thank. We'll just close it out now then, I guess. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in and stayed with us this long. That's impressive, and we're growing slowly, and we can't do it without you guys, and I definitely can't do it without you guys. So I appreciate all of you for coming out and doing this. Don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Definitely. We grow because of you guys. Like I said.
And don't forget to tell your friends to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
At least one friend.
Reagan. We're growing as a show, and our set is slowly growing. Eventually, we're going to be in a better space with better mics and better lighting equipment and camera equipment, but we're getting there. And those of you that are tuning in each week, thank you. I really appreciate it, and we really appreciate it. So with that being said, guys, typically we have questions that you guys submit to us and that we answer. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to grab those questions. I got a couple sent in, but I'm just going to save them for next show. But yeah, so I apologize on that. Andy, where can people find you on social media?
Right here.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm only on Facebook on Joseph Crow on Facebook.
Joseph Crow. Carter, where can people find you?
On Instagram at Johnny2Chips.
Okay. Eric, how about you? You new to the panel?
You can actually find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at OT Unleashed. That's
Ooh.
Oscar Tango Unleashed.
Awesome.
And that's a shout out to Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
By the way.
Reagan, where can
And,
people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Reagan_Glenn.
Reagan underscore Glenn.
Yep.
All right.
I'm not sure.
And
James.
where can find you, man? Where can people find you?
Oh, I'm on Instagram at,
That Hylian boy.
yeah, it's like, I can't, it'd be too long to like spell it out.
Is there an underscore?
No, it's dots.
Dots.
It's just, yeah,
It's like
it's whatever.
dat.hylian.boy.
With an on it.
So it's like Hylian from,
Okay.
Zelda.
Yeah.
Dat
Pretty
dot
cool.
Hylian.boi.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely have to get your information so I can put it down here.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you for tuning in and watching, guys. We appreciate you. All right, guys. Say goodbye, everybody. Goodbye,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.